Welcome out to Indiana High School football tonight. The Knightstown Panthers on the road at Eastern Hancock facing the Eastern Hancock Royals. I'm Matt Organ. Joining me is Mike Petrie. And Mike, it is football time in Indiana and, of course, in America. Full swing in the NFL, full swing college football, and, of course, high school football in Indiana. Big deal.
Absolutely, and back to the summer-like temperatures that we had 2-3 weeks ago, it makes you forget the fact we're pretty much halfway through the regular season here, and we get a nice battle as we go for the Plowshare and Anvil Trophy between Knightstown and Eastern.
Knightstown 2-2, Eastern 3-1, and both these teams coming off a win. First, we're going to talk about Eastern Hancock. This is a team that they started off the year with a loss to Greenfield Central, and since then they've been on a tear. They started off with a lot of passing, coming back to a balanced attack, really been really good, doing really well so far.
Yeah, being able to attack you both running and passing the ball has been very helpful. The big thing that they're able to do, find a way to get the ball in A.J. Maggie's hands. A.J. Maggie, a lot of the guys we're going to talk about, feels like they've been playing for these respective programs forever. And, with A.J. Maggie, he can run the ball. He's got 200 yards rushing the ball, 200 yards passing, or 200 yards receiving, I should say. He's a threat both ways.
The guy that has 7 touchdowns, he's definitely a threat. We're going to take the national anthem real quick. The Eastern Hancock band there with national anthem.
Yeah, and a nice job on that. As we were talking about A.J. Maggie, they're going to just try to find a way to get the ball in his hands. End around, they might line him up in the backfield. They might, flare him out. They're just going to try to get him the ball in space and let him use his speed. As we were talking about, that we've seen him in multiple sports, and the big thing that you see in every one of those sports is how do we utilize how fast he is. In baseball, it's getting on base and then stealing bases and creating havoc that way. In basketball, it's using his speed to get down the court, past the opponents. And here, it's get out in space and get past the opponents.
And the guy tasked to get him the ball to make sure he can do that is Jarrett Lewis, the quarterback. And Jarrett Lewis, a guy that struggled in week 1, he threw 3 interceptions. Since then, he's been on fire.
Yeah, and when you look at what Lewis has done, he's 37 for 71, not a great completion percentage, but he completes enough, and he's just dangerous enough that you have to respect the pass. When you do that, that's going to open things up for the running game, and it's one of these things where you can bounce back and forth. What I really like, he's got 10 touchdowns versus 5 interceptions. You mentioned the 3 interceptions in week 1, only 2 since then.
You go ahead and look at Knightstown. This is a team, they're going to use that option a lot,
Yeah.
and they're going to run it down your throats.
Absolutely, and it all starts up front with quarterback Tyler Burton. Again, another guy that it feels like we've seen playing at Knightstown for 12 years here on Ninestar. And right now, the Knightstown offense averages about 40 rushes per game. They've got 163 rushes in 4 games. They haven't thrown 40 passes all year. So this is a team that they are going to run the ball some more, and then when they are done running it, they're going to get the defense sucked up, get as many people into the box as possible, and then they're going to hit you with a big pass. I think one guy that's really benefited from Tyler Burton, and I think it has helped Tyler Burton quite a bit, is Tucker Personet, tight end, 8 receptions, 153 yards. What you see with all of the Knightstown players, not a lot of receptions, but every one of them is for big yards. Lane Parker, 6 catches, 98 yards. He's averaging 16 yards a carry or a catch. Personet averaging about 20 yards. Everybody else, 40 yards or 16 yards.
two teams that have some pretty high-powered offenses. Defense is going to be a big key to that. We're going to go ahead and take a chance to sit and talk with Coach O'Hara of Eastern Hancock.
Hey, we're joined down here on the field with Eastern Hancock Row head coach Jim O'Hara. Coach O'Hara, thanks for joining us today. 3-1 on the early season. What can you say about the Royals this year?
Well, we got an exciting bunch of kids. They like each other, they like football, and we've been through a lot, but they're playing well right now. So
your senior quarterback seems to be having a pretty good start to the season, a 52% completion percentage. He's been in the end zone, I think 6 times in the air, 4 times on the ground. What can you say about his leadership and how he's handling the team?
Well, he's doing an excellent job. He's a 3-year starter, so that helps. He's got experience, and he just keeps getting better each week, and we're running him a lot more this year than we have in the past. But he had a great week of practice, so I'm hoping for big things for him tonight.
And your defense has only given up 11 points per game this year, which is definitely stout. So when you prepare for a team like Knightstown, is it kind of status quo for the week, or do you guys put anything special in?
Well, I can't really tell you that. But we always have a few wrinkles. Coach Schultz and Coach Armstrong usually have something up their sleeve. So they're a good football team. They got their quarterback's tough, and they play solid fundamental football, and they're well coached.
Well, it looks like you're playing for the Anvil tonight, and Eastern Hancock has it on their sidelines right now. So what's it going to take for you to hold on to it?
You got to play for 48 minutes. Take care of the ball and hardly any penalties. So,
Coach O'Hara, good luck. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
That was Ryan Painter there with Coach O'Hara, and we're going to take a chance to throw it down to Ryan right now. Ryan?
Hey, I'm down here on the field, and you couldn't ask for a more fabulous Friday night for football here in the state of Indiana. The atmosphere with the fans is tremendous as these two teams get ready for a great matchup. Eastern Hancock's taken the Anvil for the past 4 seasons, so Knightstown is looking to take it away from them. Right now, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's 80 degrees, no breeze. It's not looking to get anywhere below 70 within the next 2 hours. So we're looking for some good action tonight in this beautiful weather. Thanks a lot. Back up to you guys.
Thanks so much, Ryan. And you heard him 4 times in a row. Knightstown hasn't won since back in 2012.
No, it's one of those things when you're talking about high school or college programs. Once you get past the class of graduating seniors, then it takes on an added layer of importance because you want to become the first one to break that streak. And on the flip side, if you're Eastern Hancock, nobody in your school has ever seen you lose this game. So, you know, it's important. And the guys that are seniors now, they were coming up through that program as it was gaining strength. So they know, you know, rivalry games like this, they've got to keep such a high focus for that.
You see Coach Kevin Miller there in his 5th year trying to win this game. We're going to take a quick time to have Ryan Painter talk with Coach Kevin Miller.
We're joined down here on the field with Knightstown Panther head coach Kevin Miller. Coach Miller, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks a lot, man.
Hey, 2-2 on this early season. What can you say about your Panthers this year?
You know, we started off a little slow. I'd like to associate it with growing pains. You know, we got a couple new things that we're doing, and I think we took us a little while to get a feel for it. Last couple of weeks, we kind of got rolling, got on a roll. So hopefully we can make this happen tonight.
When you face a team like like Eastern Hancock, who tends to pass the ball a little bit more than most of the schools you're used to facing in the area, do you have to prepare a little bit differently for that through the week, or are you prepared for that all season?
We do a 7-on-7 routine every single week, no matter what. I mean, we prepare for the pass. I mean, we had to go a little more in depth this week with these guys because Lewis is a darn good quarterback. The receivers are good. Maggie's awesome. We know they are. They're well coached. So our secondary is experienced. They're returning kids. They've been around. They understand these guys, and they know what they're in store for tonight.
And tonight is, if I'm not mistaken, the Anvil game between Knightstown and Eastern Hancock, which is always a nice rivalry between the two schools, not too far down the road. So how do the kids feel about that?
We're pretty excited about it. You know, we've lost it for the last 4 years. Last year we thought we had it, and it slipped out of our fingers right at the last seconds. Within the last minute 40 on the clock, we lost it. And those guys remember that. And their intent is to take it back to Knightstown tonight.
Well, Coach Miller, good luck. As always, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Back up to you.
Once again, that was Ryan Painter with Knightstown head coach Kevin Miller. Mike Petrie and Matt Oregon on hand. Mike, two teams very excited. You can feel the atmosphere here. A good football game we got in store for us.
Absolutely. You can the recent heat wave that came on is exactly what you need for a game like this, just to bubble up that intensity just a little bit more. And I think, what you're going to see, it's a little bit of a contrast in styles, but these teams know each other. And when you've got some smaller schools where essentially you're talking about the same guys that are playing each other in football, they're playing each other in basketball, they're playing each other in baseball, they're playing each other in wrestling. Yep. Whatever sport it is, they're going against each other. They are used to competing against each other. And, of course, you're talking Eastern Hancock and Knightstown are, 2 miles apart as it is. So not only are they playing against each other all the time, these two, they're all very close. So I think that's what brings that extra added level of intensity to games like this.
I mean, there's a reason it's the Plowshare and Anvil game, because these are two teams that they see each other a lot. And not just during sports. They live 2 miles apart. They're seeing each other outside of sports, too.
Yeah. It's funny because talking to people from Eastern Hancock in particular, it plays in all the Hancock County tournaments or depending on the sports or what have you. But their rivalries are with Knightstown and with Shenandoah because they are over on this far side of town.
A.J. Maggie to kick off for Eastern Hancock. Knightstown will receive. Cooper Strasma returning for the Panthers. He'll try to break a tackle. Tackled about the 25. That's where Knightstown and the Panthers will start their offense.
And one thing that I think you're going to see with Eastern Hancock in particular, defense, special teams, the field position plays such a large part because Knightstown, they can make big plays. I don't want to downplay their ability to make some explosive plays, but the more you can make an option team that is going to be reliant on pushing the ball down the field, and a lot of times is reliant on death by 1,000 paper cuts, the more you can make it go the length of the field, the better off you are.
First play of the game, a pass, incomplete. But we talked about that option, and they're going to come out try to pull a quick pass early.
And that's a nice idea to go against type a little bit. In particular, when you've got a senior quarterback like Burton that you trust, he's probably got a little bit of freedom up there. He's the one that's going to know when to run, when to pitch the ball, and when to go ahead and call that pass play. He's got the options at his disposal.
Burton under center again. This time going to go right up the middle to Simmons.
And they pitched it. They're gonna get you every time. And they got the Eastern Hancock defense.
Looks like Olivo in for the touchdown. Jose Olivo starting out well for the Knightstown Panthers. They tricked me right there. That option
absolutely.
is hard. Can't imagine what it is down the field.
Absolutely. And what you have to do to play good defense against an option offense, you've got to play your assignments. It doesn't matter. You could be convinced that Tyler Burton is running there. It doesn't matter. You've got to stick to your assignment. Instead, Eastern Hancock gets sucked in a little bit. Burton with a great late pitch gets it to Olivo, and Olivo does the rest, sprints down the sideline for a touchdown.
That's his first touchdown on the year. Devin Schatzel to come kick the point after touchdown. And it's good. So a quick start for Knightstown, coming out 2 plays, touchdown score on the board.
Exactly what you need. They go 80 yards to and the thing about that is you see a couple of the running backs, like Tyler Burton averaging 7 yards a rush. There's no slouch there. But, again, he's the one that's going to take the abuse. A lot of times what that means is that the wingbacks, the tailbacks are going to be the beneficiaries, because if he gets that pitch just at the right time, they are wide open.
With an offense like this, you have to have a quarterback like Burton who you have so much trust in.
Yeah, absolutely. So now it turns back over to Eastern Hancock, and they have not had to play from behind a whole lot this year.
They did in that Greenfield Central game, and they tried to make a late push, and that's when those interceptions came. They're trying to play from behind, and Jarrett Lewis made some bad decisions. You see Coach O'Hare there. This is a guy that's no stranger to success. Won a state title at Cathedral, comes here. First year here, goes to the state title. They end up losing that. Yep. But Coach O'Hare is a guy that's had a lot of success in Indiana high school football.
Absolutely.
They've been doing these 2 kick returners so far all year, Maggie being one of them.
And it looks like that is
Clayton Coker.
Yeah.
Shadesville to kick off for Knightstown. It's going to be kicked to Coker. He'll bumble it a little bit.
But that fumble almost gave him an opening, but Knightstown does a great job of closing it out, and they've done a good job of matching the Eastern Hancock intensity.
Now we'll see what Eastern Hancock's offense can do. A.J. Maggie, Jarrett Lewis, Spencer Maxwell, the three head prongs of this Eastern Hancock offense. The majority of their snaps coming out of this shotgun formation. First one's going to be to Maxwell, right up the middle. Maggie, up the middle. He'll get about 6. Usually Maxwell in the backfield. That time they're putting Maggie. Maggie will move all over the field.
Right, and again, it's all about just creating matchups and letting Maggie do what he does best. So, and putting him in that position to do what he does best.
Second down and about 2. Lewis going to pitch it off to Maggie on the left side. He'll try to get to the outside. Can't do it. Loses about a yard.
And that was a fantastic job by the Knightstown defense. You know, the one benefit they have, they've seen the option before. Yeah. Tough to trick them with that. Out of the shotgun, Lewis goes to the short side and essentially got strung out by that Knightstown defense. They had all the options covered. He pitches to Maggie. Maggie really nowhere to go.
Third down, back to about 4 or 5. Lewis, again the option to the outside. He looks like he wants to keep it. Gets past the first down and more. Stiff arm down the sideline. Crossing the 40, bouncing back to the numbers under the 30. He finds an opening. Into the end zone, touchdown Eastern Hancock.
And, 61 yards, no problem for Jarrett Lewis. It really looked like the Knightstown had that pretty well covered. It looked like Lewis was going to be able to get a first down, but really nothing more. Good backside pursuit from Knightstown. He just outran him. As we see a nice move to the outside there, and some good downfield blocking from one of his wide receivers. Shields off a Knightstown defender, and that gets to pay dirt, and we might be in for a high-scoring affair.
Maggie going to be on to kick the PAT. Lewis' athleticism really helping him there. Kick is up, and that one's good. Tied at 7s. 2 long runs being the keys to the success here early.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about wanting to see enough explosive plays. These offenses have been ramping up the last couple of weeks, so they've known what's coming. Now it's a matter of the defenses, whichever defense is going to be able to put a line in the sand and make sure nobody goes any further.
Last time on Eastern Hancock, Knightstown, scoring that second play, that long run from Jose Oliva. How do you come back for Eastern Hancock, assignment football here again?
Yeah, as much as anything, that's what you've got to focus on. And just like, when you get burned by a long pass play, you've got to have a short memory. You've got to just know. Because what an option team can do, once you start playing into their mindset, you start fighting the last war. You're looking for that pitch, and that's when Tyler Burton has all the opportunities to cut one open and gouge you for 10. Or you start trying to converge on one guy, and there's another guy that is open for a second pitch, or a separate pitch, I should say.
Again, Cooper Strasmo back deep for Knightstown. Maggie to kick off for Eastern Hancock. They'll kick it to him again. Catches it just below the 15. Try to find an opening. That Eastern Hancock kickoff team is, they're not letting anything through.
No, on special teams, they've been on point so far. Good coverage by both sides.
Calling back out to Burton. Tyler Burton, the senior. He's got 6 touchdowns throwing this year. 4 touchdowns running. A lot of their offenses, run, sneak that pass in, and those 6 touchdowns come from just that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking 6 touchdown passes. He's only completed 18 passes total. And like we were saying, all of those passes are long efforts.
Burton under center. Pitches outside. Lane Parker with it, trying to get to the outside, and he'll lose a yard or two.
Yeah, nice job by Coachert staying with Parker and not getting sucked in on the quarterback sneak. Burton does such a good job of holding onto the ball, and then you kind of see a massive bodies, and then the ball pops out.
Flag on the field as well. Face mask on Eastern Hancock, so Knightstown's going to get a little break.
Yeah, and that's the things that drive you crazy as a coaching staff. I mean, it was a good defensive play. You hold off the option play. You do everything you're supposed to, but you get your hands where they're not supposed to.
Yep.
And I think that wasn't even on the tackle. I think the face mask actually happened on the initial hit of Burton.
Flags fly again. This time they blow the play dead. It's like false start. Be back 5 more yards.
Right.
This is things early, especially early in a game like this, just drives a coach insane to be this undisciplined.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is just you're trying to control the adrenaline. You're excited. I think especially you get those 2 long runs, one on each side, and you can kind of feel it. You're amped up on an offensive side.
Coach O'Hara especially is a guy, he preaches, little things. Special teams is just as important to him as offense and defense.
Absolutely.
Back under center, Knightstown goes. Burton, bigger quarterback, not like Lewis's guy, quick and small. Burton is a guy that can power through you. He'll hand it off to Simmons. Up the middle, ball taken right away from him. Maggie ends up coming up with it.
And a great job by A.J. Maggie with the strip. It almost worked against Eastern. If Simmons had been able to break through that, he might have even been able to get a couple more yards. But a nice job on the strip and staying with it. And you see, once it came out, Maggie was the one that came down with the ball.
Coker pulls it right out of his hands, and Maggie able to come up with it. So Eastern Hancock defense setting up the offense very, very well. Ball at about the 33. Lewis in the shotgun again. 4 receivers, just 1 running back. He's going to take a shot to the right side. Connects. Peyton Wilkinson with the reception. Flags fly late, though.
We'll see what those flags were for. Looked like it was on the tackle, but I'm not 100% sure.
Wilkins had 8 reception, 2 touchdowns. He's not a guy that pops off the stat sheet, but he does a lot of good work for this Eastern Hancock offense.
Absolutely. He's generally not lined up in the flanker or split end. He's generally a tight end or an H-back and has become a nice little safety valve for Jarrett Lewis, like he was on that play.
3 receivers and a tight end. Maggie to the right of Lewis in the shotgun. And they'll get it to Maggie going left. Gets a good block, trying to go to the outside. Gets the corner, stops on a dime. Gets pushed out just a yard or 2 after that, though.
And does a nice job of turning upfield at the precise moment, not too early where he would have run into the back of his blocker, not too late where he was running out of daylight, but he cuts upfield and is able to get a couple of yards on that.
Eastern Hancock going right back to the line, not taking any time, no huddle or anything. Snap to Lewis, again the run to Maggie.
And a nice job by Knightstown sniffing that out. I really think a lot of times you see with option quarterbacks in particular, the opponents will come up with a spy basically. We're gonna keep our eye on this guy. Everything keys off of him. Once the ball's out of his hands, then you can take on any other assignments. I think that's probably what Knightstown's going to end up doing with Maggie. Somebody is responsible for at least every time he's lined up in the backfield for keeping an eye on him until he releases.
Maggie lines up to receiver left. Lewis going to throw right just over the edge of Coker. With a guy like Maggie, he's moving all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things that makes him so dangerous. And a great coverage there by Knightstown. Really, Lewis had plenty of time, just couldn't find anywhere where he could really throw the ball. 4th
down, one of those tricky situations in high school football. A little too far to kick a field goal, a little too close to punt it. You're going to go for it.
And in particular on this side, when I looked at Eastern Hancock's field goal attempts on the season. They are 0 for 0. So
Lewis is going to pick up the first down, and he kept it himself, a guy
Yep.
that's just so athletic like that.
absolutely, and just a great play and a great read. He was able to identify, he's able to pick up this spot. Again, it's a read option. He has the chance to hand it off. That time it looked like it was to Coker coming across. Elects to keep it, finds the weakness in the defense, and gets a first down.
Maggie going to be split out left. Victor Olivo, in the backfield with Lewis. Ball just around the 10. Lewis again going to fire the ball, trying to find an opening. Spins out of a sack. Crossing to the 10, down to the 5. Again, just a guy you gotta wrap him up, or he's gonna find a way to hurt you.
Absolutely, a fantastic job by Lewis trying to spin and find some opening. He makes a little bit of a gain out of nothing.
Lewis already run the ball 4 times so far today. As you see it here, they have him surrounded, and he somehow finds a way to get out of it.
Yep, and so that puts him over 70 yards on the night.
Lewis going to hand it off to Olivo. He's trying to find the outside. He'll lose a couple yards on that one.
Victor Olivo starting to see some more playing time and more carries. He's got 16 carries for 163 yards. Again, you see just some eye-popping numbers on the averages for both sides, really. If you're running the ball and you get 7 yards of hop, you're having a pretty good day. I look up and down this lineup.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody's at 7 yards of hop on the season.
Lewis going to roll to his left. Looks left. Fires in the end zone. In and out of the hands of his receiver.
Oh, and almost a diving interception. Once that gets past the receiver, it's quarterback's worst nightmare, seeing that ball flutter up. It's one thing if you can't catch the ball, but you get one hand on it and pop the ball up into the air, and that leads to a lot of nightmares.
4th and goal, no opportunity for a first down. It's score or turn the ball over here.
So, again, and just really neither of these teams kicks field goals a whole lot, and so far Eastern hasn't even bothered with a field goal, but looks like they will go ahead and try to kick from here. So, A.J. Maggie. He is the number 1 kicker on the team, 14 of 15 on PAT attempts, and that's about what this is.
The Renaissance man, A.J. Maggie.
Oh, goodness. He does just a little bit of everything.
Coach O'Hara going to take a timeout. That offense is having success, but you get to the 2-yard line, you go back. You lose a couple yards. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back every time.
Yeah, and we had talked about their ability to be balanced. They've been running the ball pretty well tonight. What they really haven't been able to do is find any openings passing the ball. Knightstown's done a great job in coverage. It hasn't been a pass rush situation. Generally, it's just Jarrett Lewis has nowhere to go with it when he drops back to pass.
And those defensive backs on Knightstown are having stick on glue.
Yeah, absolutely.
See Coach O'Hara there coming out of the huddle.
An interesting call by O'Hara to call timeout to freeze his own kicker, perhaps. But maybe just to rethink what they wanted to do. We'll see if they continue and decide they are going to go ahead and kick the field goal here. Looks like
they threw off the field goal thing. They're going for it.
I was going to say, it's hard to tell when they go out because Lewis is the holder, Maggie's the kicker. And so this time they line up in the backfield, and they are going to go ahead and go for it.
Olivo and Maggie in the backfield. Receivers 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Lewis going to look to throw it. Fires to the right side. Just a little bit short. Coker there, the one intended.
Yeah, and hard to criticize any play calling when you've had an offense that's been rolling like theirs has the last few weeks. But, they get inside the 5-yard line, and there's just not a lot of area to run pass patterns unless you've got a big, tall receiver that you can kind of throw the ball up and let him out-jump the opposition. It's just hard to navigate. You'd think with as well as their offensive line had been playing, give yourself 4 chances to run the ball from there.
Up the middle with Knightstown. John Simmons gets his first carry.
And that's a big carry for Simmons. One, he fumbled previously, but his defense picked him back up. Of course, talking his defense, he's on that defense. Pretty much everybody goes both ways. But a big carry just to get the ball out from the shadow of your end zone gives you a couple more options as to what you can do.
Third series so far for Knightstown. The first one they scored. The second, you talked about the fumble. Here's their third. Pitching out to the right side. Jose Oliva with it. Maybe got back to the line.
Yeah, and pretty good defensive pressure there by Eastern Hancock. Again, the thing about the option is you can sniff it out and feel like you're playing well against it play after play after play, but it's something that you've got to do every single time, because the second you let up and you make one mental mistake against it, is where you see the big plays.
One of those offenses where they'll try to lull you to sleep and go big. Burton again under center. He's going to hand it off to Simmons again. They're saying he was down. Ball comes out, but they're ref pointing that his knee was down. Maybe got one on it.
Yeah, so not a whole lot you can do defensively or offensively there, but you get 3rd and 1, and they do go ahead and get the first down. So that's a pretty big first down for them.
And with Simmons, twice in a row, that time he luckily was down.
A little nervous. Yeah, absolutely.
Got to wrap that ball up a little bit better.
So you were talking in the last series, Tyler Burton's a big, tall guy, not your typical option quarterback. Usually the option quarterback is the guy that can't throw the ball particularly well. Burton's shown he's got a big arm, but he's hard to take down.
Throws the option to the right. He was kind of pushed a little bit, so he didn't get his option pass out there as well as he'd like to, and you lose a couple yards, and that is the risk. People get on you so quickly, like here, 2 seconds, and he's surrounded.
Yeah, and good cover or good defense by Maggie, not converging, not kind of falling prey to that, because he knew there was an option pitch there.
Another thing with Burton is a guy that he's so big, so strong. Yeah, he's got the arm, but also he can pull you over.
Absolutely, he's hard to bring down, and that is awfully beneficial.
He's going to throw a pass this time. Over the middle, off his hands of receiver Personette. It's going to be incomplete.
Yeah, and it's beneficial for an option quarterback, because what's the biggest key is that the option quarterback has to be able to take that hit at the last second. Well, as we saw, even on the pitch, it went awry, but he's being hit, and because it still takes 1-2 guys to bring him down from that will free things up, and he's going to have some opportunities.
3rd and 17.
Not a lot in the playbook for this, though.
One of those times you might see one of those passes.
Yeah.
Throwing over to his right side. Kind of doing a little receiver screen. Max Muncy over there. He'll get back to about the 10 yards from the first down. So 4th down, and you have to think this is a punt situation.
Absolutely. Muncy, with that catch, that's only he actually hadn't caught a pass yet. Had a couple of runs, but a high percentage pass there. You want to make sure that, again, you don't turn the ball over, you don't do anything silly. A lot of times, I would have seen maybe you see the offense run everybody out, and then Burton runs a draw play just to dare somebody to try to bring him down.
Burton's the punter.
Yes.
So punts that one away, gets you just past 40-yard line. So good field position for Eastern Hancock.
Yeah, a good spot to start. They've had the better of the field position so far, but Knightstown defense held up under some pretty intense pressure on the last series.
Two-way school, a guy like Burton does sometimes have to do it all, be the punter or the quarterback.
Yeah, we see, there's not a lot of specialists in these on these teams. The specialists are doing other jobs.
Lewis firing down the left side, just out of reach. Looks like Luke Splatter was the receiver intended.
Yeah, a pretty deep ball that he throws. Just looks like he may have led Sweater just a little too much, but good coverage there on the part of Knightstown. That was, as I'm looking at him, their secondary has been solid all game.
Lewis going to roll out to his left. Pitching it to the left side to Olivo. He'll break a tackler too, stumble and bumble his way down, past the first down marker, down to about the 25.
Yeah, nice job by Olivo just making that play, continuing on.
It might be coming back, though. It looks like it is. Not to confuse, you have Victor Olivo on Eastern Hancock, then Jose Olivo
Right.
on Knightstown. This one is Victor Olivo. You pitch out to him, but they're calling a holding on Eastern Hancock, pulling it back.
And not a great pitch there by Lewis. It was well behind Olivo, but he did a great job of corralling that and then getting his momentum going forward. But it all comes back. The holding is, that'll be 2nd and 20 then.
3 receivers to the right. Lewis is going to try the screen to Maggie. Maggie trying to find an opening up the middle. Key to those is the blocking, and sometimes it breaks down.
Yeah, but even with that, it was a play. You're looking. He got 6-7 yards, and just in the blink of an eye, just on a screenplay, he's able to get upfield and really get himself into position to do something dangerous.
3rd and about 15.
So
you're getting in these long situations, kind of forcing Lewis to throw.
right,
And this Knightstown defensive back group has been really, really good tonight.
yeah,
Lewis again, looking to his right. He's got lots of time. Firing down the side. Intended for Wilkinson, but he can't come up with it.
yeah. He's going to try to sell that, but I think he was out of bounds before he came down with the ball. Again, just great coverage by Knightstown. I think they have decided as a defensive philosophy, if Jarrett Lewis is going to drop back and pass, that's fine.
Yep.
They are perfectly content to let him drop back and pass, and they'll give their blessings, so to speak. And just as Burton was the punter, I believe Jarrett Lewis the punter for Eastern Hancock.
Knightstown has to punt. 4 plays later, you get the punt from Eastern Hancock. That one really short, just to about the 35, maybe a net 10-yard punt.
Yeah, not a great effort. I think if I'm the quarterback, that might be playing into my psychology of trying to convince the coach, you know what, let's just not punt. It's not going to work very well anyway. We might as well just go for it. Never know when that might come back in.
Knightstown coming back out. That first series, they have that really long run.
Yeah.
Jose Olivo with the touchdown. Since then, kind of struggling, never getting past the 50-yard line.
No.
What's changed?
Well, I think a lot of it is, again, Eastern Hancock, that's what's going to happen with the option is that you're just going to have to make the hay when you get your big plays, whether it's running or throwing the ball.
Olivo breaks a few tackles, trying to spin out of it. Got back to about the line.
But I think a lot of this is Eastern Hancock doing a good job of gang tackling, of playing to their assignments. You're not seeing guys converge on the ball before, allowing that late pitch by Burton. So that's been helpful. And then the other thing is Knightstown started the last 2 drives so deep in their own territory, it's been hard to get anything really going forward.
Timeout called. Focusing. We talked about that heat wave. You got to focus on the hydration here sometimes too.
Absolutely, and I think this is always one of those games that can sneak up on you, because you'd kind of gotten out of the remembering all of the hot weather, hydration things, and kind of gotten out of the practice of it, and then now it springs back up, and you have to go right back to taking care of yourself that way.
You see those stands, Knightstown, we mentioned, maybe 2 miles away, if not
Right.
closer. Pretty good pretty good amount of fans there.
Absolutely.
It's what makes this game that much more exciting. You're playing in front of more people. You hear a better atmosphere. It's hard not to get up for this game.
Right.
Scores still tied at 7. Both teams scoring early in the first quarter, and defense has been the answer since then.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see who breaks through from an offensive standpoint. Whether it's Eastern with Jarrett Lewis, he's just trying to find some hole in that Knightstown secondary, or whether eventually Knightstown's gonna, you keep going to this option. You feel like at some point you're gonna pop one.
Simmons going to try to find a couple up the middle. He'll get 3 or 4.
And sometimes you just have to content yourself with that. Even if it doesn't end up being something that leads to a first down on this series, if you can get yourself into just string together a couple of first downs, keep that opponent on the defensive side for a little bit. Right now, both offenses really struggling to get any rhythm whatsoever.
Third and about 7. See basically the same formation every time. 3 running backs, 2 receivers. Simmons on the middle, bobble it a little bit, flags fly.
Yeah, and that's going to be a hold, it looks like.
Simmons limping off a little bit too.
Yeah, and Eastern, I assume, will decline this.
They do. If you look here, though, this exchange, it's still being a problem. Simmons, he's bobbling the ball right there.
Yeah. It's almost like he's getting it before he's ready to receive the ball. And that's not something you generally see in Game 5.
Yeah.
And it's not like Simmons has not been playing or is new, what have you. That's a regular part of this option attack, is that the fullback gets the ball and the first guy through, they're trying to, hit a quick hitter. But, yeah, he definitely is struggling.
Burton to punt it again. Almost tipped by Eastern Hancock. Wilkinson going to return the punt. Gets out of the tackle. Gets to about the 28, 27.
Yeah, decent job by Wilkinson there. Turned left, and then a great job by Knightstown just holding up Wilkinson, not allowing him to get any further.
We saw the success early running. Obviously, Jarrett Lewis had that really long run.
Yep.
Since then, you've seen a lot of passing. They went right back to that passing attack.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of the run, but they really haven't stuck to it. Obviously, they're seeing something that's saying, okay, well, this is something we can pass on, but really they haven't had a lot of success with that.
They do come back with the run that time.
And the other part of that is that you get yourself down in distance. There have been some penalties offensively that have pushed them back. The last drive in particular, Olivo had a long run, would have been a first down. Instead, it was second and 20. Here you're looking 2nd and 10. You get yourself behind the schedule, so to speak, and you kind of have to pass because you've got to look for a little bit bigger play.
And that's going to be how the first quarter ends. Clock running down closer to the zeros. That's going to be the end of the first quarter. Score tied at 7. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more high school football on Ninestar.
This island is notorious for the number of ships and planes that have gone missing. The 1954 nuclear tests weren't tests. They were trying to kill something.
That's calm. He's king around here.
It's time to show that man is king. Run!
Rent Kong Skull Island, now on demand.
Welcome back out to Eastern Hancock High School. Eastern Hancock hosting the Knightstown Panthers. Game tied at 7. 2 really long runs to start that. And since then, the offenses have really cooled down.
Yeah. We being the smart people that we are, thought we'd see that offensive fireworks continue throughout. And really, after one big run for each side, it's been a defensive struggle. And credit to both defenses, really. I I haven't seen a whole lot where it's been failure to execute on the offensive side. There was the one turnover by Knightstown, but outside of that, it's really been a defensive struggle, and the defenses have been outperforming the offenses.
Lewis in the shotgun again. He's going to hand it off to Meggie. Meggie breaking through a tackle. Still going. Get about 4 or 5.
Yeah, and a decent little quick hitter there by Maggie. The one thing we've been looking at is Maggie does so well when he can get himself out in space. And sometimes you can get that when you go off tackle. There's just, he's fitting through small creases and then can break through that. But what you're also looking at, you want to see if you can get a big hitter, see if you can get him the ball out on the flat or something.
Just saw there United States Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. She's making an appearance here through her tour around the United States. Lewis going to pitch it off to Meggie underhanded. Meggie finding an opening. Flags fly though. Cutting back to the numbers.
Yeah, and I think this one's coming back, but what a gutsy play by Lewis.
Yeah.
Just that is
Shovel
one of those
pass.
ones that shovel pass always looks like a terrible idea until it works.
It does. And, it did work. But
Yeah.
when you have the play like that where you get the flag flying right in the middle of it.
Knew it was coming back, but it really is funny because for such a long part of that play, you're trying to draw the defense in. You're trying to, and it's like a lot of the option pitches, but it just looks like everything is going to collapse on you. And then again, a ball pops out, receiver's got it, and he's got daylight.
Blocking them back, and you see you're kind of forcing your quarterback. You're going to take a hit, but if it works out, it does. Unfortunately, the blocking them back, negates it.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. Whenever you got kind of a weird change of direction play like that, blocks in the back can happen just because you've got the offensive line having to all of a sudden turn themselves around and get upfield as opposed to kind of capture or following some of the defensive players.
Lewis making the smart play there, drawing off the entire defensive line for Knightstown.
Absolutely.
It's one of those times where you use the same cadence 4 or 5 series in a row, then you get them right there.
Right. And good
time to use it too.
Absolutely, and good discipline by the offensive line. Everybody's they kept their heads down. They weren't even looking up, so they knew something was up.
Lewis going to go back to the passing attack. Having to create some more time with his feet. Firing. Leaves it short.
Yeah, and again, it's not a big pass rush. Knightstown only bringing 4. There's no blitz there, but they are just taking an opportunity. They've got 7 guys back in coverage, and he's finding no holes whatsoever down the field.
Another punt series for Eastern Hancock. A little bit of a low snap. Lewis able to get it off, though.
Yeah, a better punt here.
Stopping it around the 40. We mentioned just a little bit ago U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. She's making her way through the country. Started off in Gary this morning, then to Indianapolis, making her final appearance here at Eastern Hancock, an A-level school here in the state of Indiana.
Right, and calling attention to the good things that Eastern Hancock's been able to do. A nice opportunity for the Royals crowd and a nice opportunity for the Royals to show off their school.
Knightstown coming back out. And we were talking just a little bit ago, Mike, that their leading rusher, their leading scorer is the quarterback, Burton. He's not ran the ball one time today.
Right. He been content, and I think that has a lot to do with what Knightstown's doing. They're going to focus on him.
Just as we say that, he goes for his first run. Stiffs arm, gets the first down and more. Finds an opening past the 40, past the 50. Gets to about the 35.
Yeah, runs himself out of bounds.
Yeah.
I think that may have been one of those cases. We were talking earlier how beneficial it is being a big quarterback, hard to bring down. And you see he gets himself going in the forward momentum and just does a great stiff arm. But I think he gets himself to the sideline here, and there was no cut. he was going, and he was going to go ahead and go out of bounds. May have cost himself a few yards, but a nice run there by Burton.
Getting across the 50-yard line for the first time in a while. Hands off to Simmons this time. He'll get 4 or 5. Powering up the middle.
and a little better connection there on the handoff.
And we've talked about a little bit. They're going to keep hitting you and keep hitting you and keep hitting you and try to wear your defense down. And then you get a play like that with Burton, or you get a pass play.
Yeah.
That is the MO.
Yeah, and that's what it is. A lot of times you try to get them in. It's like the snap count. You're trying to get them to buy into this is the cadence. Yep. This is what this key looks like. This is what, when you see the guy flare out to the left like this, we're going to the left. And Burton used that. He got the whole defense going to the left, and then he snuck around the line, comes back to the right.
Burton going to try to plow his way through. He'll get a few.
And a nice job. A good tackle there, but because, again, he uses his size, he's able to get a couple of yards even after the contact.
Ball about the 28.
And we're looking about 3rd and 2 here, so.
About 9 minutes until halftime.
Knightstown taking a little longer in the huddle than they generally had been. So we're down to a 4 on the play clock.
They do get it off. Burton again going to take it himself. Flags fly back at the line, though.
We'll see what that call is, because that was right at the snap.
Yeah.
I don't know if Eastern came out early or if that may have been an illegal formation by Knightstown. Didn't see any procedure. I didn't see anybody moving from Knightstown's standpoint.
They are seeming to backing up, though, and they're going to call holding. Really early hold.
That was very early.
The old saying in football, there's a hold in every play. It's just, do they see it?
Right. So now 3rd and 14, and again, you get into that down and distance where Knightstown's in trouble, because where their passing game struggles is when they have to pass. They're much better at passing when they want to pass. If they get themselves into that position where they have to throw the ball, they're gonna have some trouble. Tyler Burton, that's just not his strength.
Burton is going to go back for the pass. Pressure from behind, and he'll be sacked. One of those struggles of being an option is you don't really have that option of a halfback screen or something like that. It's, you're going to run the ball, or you're going to have to try to find some time to throw it deep.
Right. And that was Wes Myers with the sack there for Eastern Hancock.
Punt team does come back out. Frustrating if you're Knightstown as you finally get some movement and then, a sack ends your drive.
Right.
Penalties end your drive.
That's what it is more than anything. You have that hold, because even if you don't gain any yards there, not setting yourself back by 10 is almost a win. So much of it is you've got to live to fight another day. You've got to be able to put yourself in position that 3rd and 8 looks a lot better than 3rd and 14.
Just over 7.5 minutes until halftime. Haven't had a score in the second quarter. 2 big scores early. Neither offense had anything since then. What does Eastern Hancock have to do to jumpstart their offense here?
Well, I think that both teams really have to get themselves into a mindset of 10 yards at a time.
Yeah.
I think especially when Eastern Hancock is looking to pass the ball, they've been looking kind of big plays down the field.
Maggie cutting it outside. He'll stiff arm once, stays in bounds, cuts it outside.
And a great job of staying in bounds. Great job with the balance. Because once he got to that sideline, the defender gave one last push, hoping that was enough to get him to step on the line. Instead, he's able to stop on a dime, cuts upfield, and gets an extra, probably about 4 or 5 extra yards with that.
Lewis, again, going to hand the ball off. This one to Olivo. He'll get a few. Something we really haven't talked about is the up front battle.
Yeah.
These aren't two massively huge offensive line, defensive lines. It's all about scrappy grit and technique at this point.
Right, and again, you're talking on a hot night. It's keeping that technique as your body's getting a little tired. Both the lines in particular are tired. They're playing both ways.
Lewis to his right, fakes the pitch, takes it himself. He'll get the first down and more. Following his blockers. Cuts it back inside to the numbers. Just shy of the 50-yard line. He'll be tackled.
And a nice job there by Lewis. Just a fantastic fake. When you get a defender, and as I was looking at Knightstown, that was number 42, Tucker Personet. Really, he had no option there because when you're playing 1-on-2 as a defender there, you're toast.
Yep.
The quarterback has you completely at his mercy.
And that's why that's why Knightstown uses the option just for that.
Right.
Tackle and lose a yard or two on that one. Second and about 11. 6.5 minutes until halftime. Knightstown trying to put themselves on top before then.
This might be the first time that we've seen the team get 2 first downs on a drive.
Yeah.
Certainly the first time in a while.
Knightstown's going to call a timeout, wanting to set the defense up. And you start this one pretty far back. Burton had a pretty good punt. You move forward. This is a situation where, can you keep that momentum going?
Right. And that's the downside when you're playing a first down at a time. That means you've got to consistently be able to do it. And you also cannot you can't have any of these plays where you go backwards 5 yards. You can't have the plays where you get a holding penalty and you're setting your team back.
Lewis doing a good job on the ground and kind of went away from that passing attack where they were struggling.
Yeah, the ground attack has definitely worked better. Just more big plays available in it, and they've done a good job of establishing Lewis and Maggie and others getting their chance to run the ball.
Yeah.
Cockard has had a couple of runs, and when you set the defense up where they can't just key on one back, that definitely puts you at a big advantage.
And something we haven't mentioned just yet, Spencer Maxwell, a guy that was their power back, staying on the sides in street clothes. He's got his jersey and his jeans on.
Right.
You lose a guy that's so crucial to your offense, a senior that's been playing for 4 years. Starts with that first game with your first touchdown of the season, and now he's on the bench. That's one of the reasons you're seeing a guy like Olivo and Meggie have to be in the backfield.
And we had talked a little bit about why they were going, more of an air attack. Well, that's a big part of it too. Intended
for Splitter. Flags fly, maybe a pass interference, but
and Knightstown's defender there is. I'm going to take his cause. I am with him 100%. I don't think that ball was going to get caught. That was Bruce Nichols that got caught. Maybe a little bit of a bump, but we'll see. They talked about it. We'll see if they continue. And I assume they will.
Flag's still on the floor. It doesn't look like they're picking it up.
Right.
You see the replay here, firing it down. I don't know if you'll be able to see.
Yeah, there is no way that's what caused it so that he couldn't catch it. I will give the receiver credit. He sold it well.
Must have been to that local acting school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eastern Hancock going to take the fortune for them, though.
Yeah, and sometimes that, you just get a break like that. And, you're throwing deep. You put yourself in single coverage, and good things can happen. Sometimes it's you complete the pass. Sometimes it's a justified pass interference. Sometimes you get a break.
We talked about how Lewis had that struggle first week, and these last 3 weeks he's been really good. Tonight he's not that same guy.
No, he's definitely throwing long, throwing short. He's missing receivers for sure.
Victor Olivo, the running back on that one, gets back to the line. You've got so much trust in your senior quarterback in Lewis, a guy that's been, he's been doing this for 3 years now. He started as a sophomore. Nights like this, you just got to keep pushing through him. Hey, you'll get back to where you are.
Right. It's just like a good jump shooter. You keep going back to him. It'll start falling eventually. And if it doesn't, they've got enough of a running game they can make do. But if you can add to that running game, that's going to make this offense really fly.
Olivo up the middle, finds an opening. He'll get to the outside a little bit, breaks off a tackle or two, down to just outside the 20, almost into the red zone.
Yeah, great job by Olivo there. Look at how small he makes himself going through that hole and then able to get through the crease. Once he's through that, bam, he's taken big steps and able to accelerate.
Victor Olivo, just a sophomore. playing big. Lewis sacked from behind. Flags fly, though. We'll see what the flag is.
Yeah, I'm going to guess, and that was Tucker Personet coming from the backside with the sack. And I'm going to guess that's a hold, but based on where the penalty flag was.
Personet's that defensive end. He's going to switch sides. He's going to try to, hide where he's at, and that time they just lost him, and he was able to come in there.
So some other scores in the Ninestar area. Shelbyville coming off a loss last week against Newcastle. They lead Greenfield Central 14-0, 8:42 in the first quarter. New Pal leads Pendleton Heights, battle of two 4-0 teams. Dragons 7-0 ahead, 4:58 in the first quarter.
The Greenfield Central team beat this Eastern Hancock team week 1.
Yeah, Greenfield, we've had them a couple of times here. They've had a pretty good start to their season.
Lewis trying to take it himself. Maybe gets one.
And so now again, you're looking at third and about 15. Again, a tough position. Eastern Hancock, I think Lewis has proven himself. He's a little more accomplished as a passer, but still, you get yourself in this position where Knightstown can just drop back 6 guys and dare you to throw the ball. Drop back 6 or 7 guys. It's going to be difficult to find openings.
Lewis again to the air. Following it right side, looking for Maggie, just off his fingertips.
Oh, goodness gracious. And very just inches away. Maggie did a nice job of tracking that. Maybe looked back a little too early because he slowed up and then came up just short. But I think based on where they are, a good deep ball. Based on where they are on the field, they're going to go ahead and go for this.
I'll leave on the backfield Maggie, Wilkinson, Cochard, and Splatter, the receivers. 4 receivers, 1 back. Whistles.
And be a timeout by Eastern Hancock here.
One thing to mention back to those other scores, that New Pal Pendleton Heights game is a big one. New Pal's had a lot of success in the last few years, and Pendleton Heights, this is second-year head coach. They're starting to pick it up too.
They definitely are. We saw them last week, and they really put on a very good show. An impressive performance. Anybody who can hang with New Pal, that is a feat in and of itself.
They are a powerhouse as of late. Those linemen, they're turning them out like they are the best in the state each year.
We see Coach O'Hare there.
Sun's starting to set here in Charlottesville, Indiana. See the cornfields in the back? It's Indiana for you right here.
Right.
Again, 4 receivers. Splater near side, Meggie, Wilkinson, and Coker.
And they've got Maggie lined up in the slot. A lot of times that can help, just try to find an opening, maybe not going against the number 1 cornerback.
Lewis going to look left side. He'll throw it to Splater. Over the top, comes down with it. Touchdown, Eastern Hancock, and what a catch.
That was a fantastic pass and catch, and a great job by Lewis just throwing the ball up, letting his receiver go ahead and make the play. A lot of times you see the quarterback tries to lead the receiver away from the defender. That time he trusted his receiver to go up, make a play, go up over the defensive back, and Slater came down with it. A great job.
And we had just mentioned it. You got to keep going to Lewis. Keep Lewis throwing the ball. It's just like a shooter.
Yeah, and 2 good passes. The one to Maggie could have been complete, was just off of his fingertips. That time Splater does a great job. Goes up and is able to come down with the ball.
Field goal no good from Maggie, though.
So the point after, so now you're up by 6, but that is dangerous territory for sure.
And we talked about how Knightstown's defensive backs have been so good. That one slip up and it hurts.
Yeah. But He came into the game 14 of 15, so 15 of 17 on the season. Still a pretty solid percentage for AJ Maggie.
So 13-7, point after touchdown was missed. 3:50 left in this first half. Knightstown doesn't want the momentum to end that way.
No, and we've seen actually it's. If you're Eastern Hancock, the key here is see if you can get a 3-and-out, get yourself out of this, get the ball back quickly, because the possessions in this game have not been particularly long.
Yeah.
Of course, you had the 2 big scoring plays, but then you really haven't seen teams until that drive by Eastern Hancock be able to string together first downs and really run the clock at all. So you get 3-and-out here from Eastern Hancock, maybe look at getting the ball back in good field position. You might be able to get yourself into halftime with an even bigger lead.
Maggie to kick it off. Knightstown going to come up with it. Past the 30, breaks through. Again, Cooper Strasma.
Yeah, nice run back there. Doesn't waste any time. He wasn't going east and west. He was going north and south.
Especially when you want to get good field position here. Try to score before halftime.
Right.
If you make the point after touchdown, you can take the lead. That would be huge.
Of course, on this field, east and west actually is north and south.
Yeah.
But as we are
Minutia.
due south of I-70.
Burton back under center for Knightstown. The Panthers going to the air early. Firing right side, just out of the fingertips. Tried to get it over to Tucker Personette.
Yeah, that was just out of Tucker Personette's fingertips, but it was also just out of the fingertips of the defender, Caleb Giddings. Almost had a pick there. He did a great job reading the quarterback. He sat back in the zone and was ready to pounce when that ball was thrown.
And when the ball is going to be thrown for Knightstown, Personette's the guy. 8
Yeah.
reception, 153 yards, 4 touchdowns. You're not seeing those deep shots yet, though.
No. It comes back to it kind of works opposite. When they're throwing the ball because they have to pick up 10 yards or 15 yards or what have you, then they're a little bit more limited.
Yeah.
When they are able to draw the defense in, and the defense has to throw both of the safeties up at the line of scrimmage, and you've got single coverage, then you can be in a position where you can throw the ball deep, and that's where you'd get the big plays in the passing game.
Receiver Dawson Smith, the false start. Left a little bit early.
It looked like wasn't sure if he went left early or if he wasn't sure if he was the one supposed to be in motion. It looked like one guy had come in motion on the far side, and Smith went to go in motion like he does there.
Burton going to keep it himself, plowing through defenders, toe tough to bring down.
Yeah.
He gets back to the beginning of the first down marker, so he's back to 10 yards, trying to make it a little bit more manageable.
Right. It just a reasonable amount. And I think one thing that will be interesting as we go towards the even into the second half, because you're talking about two guys that, they're not using the punt as a weapon offensively, what is a manageable fourth down, and does it, change what the calculus is? Because right now, if I'm Knightstown, if I've got 2 plays to make this, I'm running the ball because I feel like I've got a better shot at picking up 5 yards. But I might have a better shot at getting 10 if I throw it.
They will fire it to the right side. A deep ball in and out of the hands.
Yeah, and just not a high percentage play, but a good throw by Burton.
Threw it over to Strasma.
Yeah, and Strasman had gotten beyond the Royals defenders, but a good job by the Eastern Hancock defensive back there. Just as I pick up that number, that was Blaze Sarber, staying with it and giving just a little push in the back once the ball got there. Able to just bother the receiver just enough.
And Eastern Hancock did just what you said. You get that 3 and out, you get that punt. You got 2.5 minutes, a little bit more.
Yeah.
To try to get another score on the board. Coming up with it is Meggie. He can't break through the first tackle, though.
No, and a good job on the special teams tackle there by Knightstown. That was number 2 on that. Olivo with the tackle.
2.5 minutes. You had success for the first time throwing it last time. What's your play call here, managing the clock?
Well, I think if you're Knightstown, the big thing, you don't want to give the ball back. So, you've got 2 minutes, 40 seconds. If you don't really want to give the ball back, I should say, on a 3 and out. I think you see if you can get a first down here.
Throws it to Splitter on the right side. He'll break through one, almost to the 50-yard line.
And I think that play sets up what you're going to do from here. If that pass is incomplete, I think maybe you take a little more conservative approach. Maybe you run the ball and then see if you can bring the clock down just a little bit. On the flip side, that pass is complete. Now you're in pretty good field position. You get another 10-yard completion, and the clock isn't really a factor.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice place to be at from an offensive standpoint because you feel like you're getting a little bit of a roll. You're starting to complete some passes all in a row. And as we see, it looks like
Splitter a little slow to get up.
Yeah, and answering the trainer's questions. So everybody taking a knee, a good sign of sportsmanship here.
Splitter catches that touchdown, catches the play there. Still 13-7. Just over 2.5 minutes left in this half.
And I think the big thing from Knightstown right now, you are just trying to hold on. You're going to try to hold back the onslaught here. As a good hand for Splitter as he gets up, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Royals. But as much as anything, I think if Knightstown goes to the locker room down 13-7, they feel like they're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Eastern, on the flip side, Eastern gets the ball to start the second half. So if they go in, they get a score. You're talking about 20-7. You've scored the last 2 times you had the ball, and you're getting the ball coming back. I think that there's 2 good opportunities for Eastern Hancock here to really put their mark on this game. Knightstown kind of having to withstand the charge for a little bit.
Mason Carmichael, the receiver there, he came in for Splitter, and I throw right to him.
Yeah, and you can tell Lewis is just starting to feel a little bit more confident, a little more bounce in that step as he's dropping back.
And a lot of those early passes were, fades, deep balls. These ones are 10 yards, and he's rocketing them there.
Right. Giving himself some good high percentage passes to complete. I think that's a smart idea just to get himself into a little bit of a rhythm.
Hands the ball off. Olivo. Victor Olivo going to take it up the middle. He'll get the first down and a lot more.
Nice job by Olivo. And again, he hits the hole very quickly. Yeah. You can tell, looking at him, not a particularly, not a lot of experience running the ball, but he's got some good instincts, and he can find the hole and he can explode to the hole pretty well.
Lewis, pump fakes to his right side, rolling to his left. Has to come back with it, looking for a block.
Trying to find somebody.
Has to throw it away almost. Ooh, Coker there right at the end, but they're going to say.
There, he was out of bounds.
Out of bounds, yeah. Looked like he was throwing away, but
right.
Saw receiver, I didn't.
And a nice job by Coker matching his quarterback. Getting that scramble drill, you've got to find him. And a good job making himself available. Just the throw got there about a half a beat too late.
You're on about the 24-23. 2nd and 10. 1:50 left before halftime. Lewis handing off to Olivo again. Reaching for the outside. Won't get to the corner.
And a great job by the defense there. Knightstown's number 16 for them. That was Tyler Burton making the tackle. And
quarterback making the tackles on defense.
We talked about his size on offense, his size on defense. He's making an impact there too. Burton is their one of their top tacklers, 31 total tackles on the season.
Lewis going to find his own path for it. Slicing up the middle, goes right into 2 defenders.
Yeah, and that's where that run-pass option really becomes dangerous. Knightstown has to be honest. They have to play the pass and respect Lewis's arm. But because of that left a giant hole up the middle. And really, before anybody was able to recognize that he was running, he had picked up 5 of the 10 yards he needed.
And this is that balance we talked to at the beginning of the night. Early they were struggling in passing. They focused more on the run. Now they're having success pass. You open up those run lanes.
Absolutely.
Lewis, again back to pass. Firing right side, looking deep. Coker in the vicinity. Flags fly.
Let's see who that call is on. The Knightstown defender originally raised a protest, but that might be on Coker. Coker was the one that saw the ball initially, and we'll see if we can get a good replay here, as looked like he might have put his hands on the defender trying to cut back in. As the ball's up high, and that does go against the Royals. So
brings him back 15 yards.
yeah, it was a good job by Coker recognizing the ball in the air, but instead of, a lot of times you see kind of the hand fighting from receiver and defender. That time it was all Coker and just really shoved the defender out of the way.
So you still first down. A lot less plays in the playbook, though, for 1st and 25.
Right.
Lewis rolling to his left. Firing the outside. Splitter back in the game. Breaks through 1 tackle, 1 out of bounds.
And a great job by Splitter, making himself available. I think the thing is, when you get in that 1st and 25, a lot of times the temptation is you feel like you have to pick it all up. You've got 3 plays. You've got plenty of time right now. Clock's not really an issue. Make sure that you can pick up 10, 15. They get actually about almost 20 yards there.
2nd and 6. A lot more manageable now.
And we're going to get a timeout from Knightstown. So now you've got 20 yards left to go. I keep saying the clock's not an issue. It is only 30 seconds, but because, you can really throw anything that you can throw, still use the middle of the field. You can still pretty much run any play in your playbook. Even running the ball up the middle, not completely out of the question. If you see that open.
And you still have a timeout if you're Eastern Hancock.
So I think that Eastern Hancock's got a lot of different options here, but with the way Jarrett Lewis is throwing the ball all of a sudden, he's got himself in a good rhythm. Yeah. And I think that you probably stay in the air, but these more short, manageable pass patterns as opposed to maybe having to go towards the end zone in one fail swoop.
Sun almost down all the way. Still see a little bit of light out there.
Yeah.
But, this is high school football under the lights on Friday night.
It's fantastic.
Lewis, you're right. Back to the air. Firing left side. Splater intended. Just out of reach.
And we're going to get interference called, and again, it's from the official, not the official running with the play, the official who was on the far side there in the middle of the field, and he saw something. I think he had a better angle on it. Not sure if I necessarily agree with the call, but that's one of those ones when you see, like in basketball, the coach is like, oh, he's all the way on the other side of it. Well, that time he actually had the better angle to see the interference. If that, the guy running with it wasn't really able to see that. He was actually blocked off by the receiver.
1st and goal at the 10-yard line. Lewis back to the air. No hesitation. Splater open for the touchdown.
Yeah, and they are just working that connection. It is just drop back, pitch, catch, and it wouldn't matter how many defenders there were from Knightstown. They're going to be able to find each other in that. And really, there's not a whole lot Knightstown can do defensively unless you're just going to try to knock Splater off the ball as soon as the ball snaps.
Yeah. Meggie back out for the PAT. This time it's good.
And we're going to see some fireworks. We've seen some fireworks on the offensive side. Now we see some fireworks up in the sky. Eastern Hancock doing it upright, celebrating the score, and they are up 20-7.
20-7, 20 seconds. Unless you get an amazing play here by Knightstown, this is going to be the halftime score.
Right.
What do you do if you're Eastern Hancock going into halftime? What does Coach O'Hara say?
Well, I think he likes these last 2 drives a whole lot more, that's for sure. I think you take what you've done well here, which is, again, you've seen them have more sustained drives. Not everything happening in one big play. They've been able to rock the 10-yard completion. I think that's where you stay. If you're going to be throwing the ball, it's going to be these high percentage, line drive throws. Where Lewis, I think you're also going to try to make his life easier, which is you've got one read, and if Knightstown's going to drop 7 guys back in coverage, then you've got one read and then go.
Yeah.
I think where we've seen he's struggled. If he drops back and then is having to scan the field and trying to find somebody open in that mess, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So I think where Eastern can take advantage of is you're not going to get a rush. You're just going to have if your guy's not open, we get a onside kick attempt.
Wow, onside kick, and they come up with it.
Well, that is gutsy.
Yeah. 16 seconds left. They want to put another score on the board for halftime.
Absolutely, and that was well executed. So, and
remember, they get the ball at the start of the second half, too.
Absolutely, and they know that. And I think what that is, that's acknowledging that you have the confidence in your defense that even if you give the ball away at the 50-yard line, you can keep Knightstown out of the end zone.
Yeah.
And giving yourself this opportunity, I'd imagine you're going to see 1, maybe 2 passes to get down closer, and then maybe a couple of shots at the end zone.
First one, Lewis going to go to the air again. Rolling to his right away from defenders. Still looking, firing downfield. It's picked off.
Yep.
Looks like quarterback Tim Burton.
Tyler Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a play. Knightstown had that well read from the word go. And again, this is another one we talked about where especially you give Knightstown chance to set up their defense. It's basically they're pitching tents back there, daring Lewis to throw it. I think where Lewis is going to have some success throwing it is drop back, find your guy, throw it, and if that's not there, then take your chances running it.
Just 4 seconds on the clock.
We'll see what Knightstown does here. They've got that is number 84 for the Knightstown.
We'll just kneel it down, and that's how the first half went. We talked a little about Coach O'Hara.
Yeah.
What's Coach Miller going to say to this Knightstown team? Now you're down by 13.
Yeah, I think that they've got to just keep themselves in this game mentally, and that's going to start with the first series. I think is going to be very big for Knightstown. They've got to get a stop. The first rule of trying to get out of this hole, you've got to stop digging, and you've got to get yourself out. And then offensively, they've just got to try to find something where they can get some consistency. Again, they are an offense that, again, they try to lull you into sleep and then get a big play because they've got you going, left,
yeah,
kick one back right. But they haven't been able to get enough success to really get in that rhythm, to get a defense buy-in that they're going one way or the other. They're not on the field long enough.
Yep. Well, that's the halftime score. Eastern Hancock up 20-7 over Knightstown. We're going to take a break. When we come back, have some analysis and statistics for you here on Ninestar TV.
The Big 12 is not for the weak. You face Red River shootouts and destructive cyclones with Cowboys and Longhorns ready to take you down. Every week you fight or surrender. Win or lose, you do. Or you don't. There is no other choice.
And we are back here at Eastern Hancock High School. The Eastern Hancock band playing at halftime as the Royals enjoy a 20-7 lead over the Knightstown Panthers. Mike Petrie, Matt Organ here with you, and we've seen an entertaining first half as we are going to take a quick look at some of the highlights here from the first half. And as we are seeing, the early on in the game, it was the option play from Knightstown, and Jose Olivo takes that option pitch. It finally flutters out to him. He takes it, goes 80 yards to pay dirt as he just outruns everybody on the Eastern Hancock defensive side, and Knightstown was off to a good start. We thought we'd be in a good, be seeing an offensive showdown as it was just 2 plays later. Jarrett Lewis, he does it himself, carries the ball with a nice stiff arm there, and he is going to go ahead and outrace everybody on the Knightstown side. Good cutback, finds some green grass and gets himself into the end zone. But after that, it was a bit of a defensive struggle, really not a lot of offense to speak of. All of that happened within pretty much the first 2 minutes of the first quarter. It was until there were about only about 3 minutes left in the second quarter when Eastern Hancock finally got their passing game going. Jarrett Lewis finding his receiver there, and that was Splater comes down with that catch, and Luke Splater is working on a very good night. He's got 2 touchdown catches. That was the first of them. Then after a 3-and-out from Knightstown, Eastern Hancock able to get themselves back into scoring position, and they get the ball down to about the 20-yard line, and Jarrett Lewis was able to find Splater again in the end zone. So overall, it ends up being a 20-7 lead for Eastern Hancock, and as we are winding through halftime, we are going to go ahead and go back out to another quick break. When we come back, we will have some more stats and the second half action here for you on Ninestar 9. Right now, the Eastern Hancock Royals lead Knightstown Panthers 20-7 at the half here on Ninestar.
Monday, so good to me. Monday morning, it was all I hoped it would be. Oh, Monday morning couldn't guarantee.
Monday Night Football all season long, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN.
And welcome back to Eastern Hancock High School. 20-7 the score, and Eastern Hancock leading the Knightstown Panthers. Halftime here, 7 minutes left. Happy to tell you this story that this past Tuesday morning, 51 trucks and over 100 electrical workers from Indiana and Michigan left for Florida to assist in restoring electricity to those areas hit by Hurricane Irma last weekend. They will be gone for several weeks, working to get things put back together in Florida. Included in this group are Ninestar Connect linemen Austin Geralds and Brian Giddings. And Brian Giddings, the father of senior Eastern Hancock linebacker Caleb Giddings, we mentioned earlier. The evening is probably a little difficult for Brian, who normally would be right here enjoying watching his son's senior year of football at Eastern Hancock. But at last report, 3.8 million homes and businesses were still without power. To turn the power back on in Florida, it is estimated that work crews must replace nearly 3,000 poles and 950 miles of wire in the state. And, we're awfully happy to report that Brian and Austin are able to help out down there, and awfully thankful for the work that they and so many are doing to help those in Florida. It's going to be an awfully big task as we're starting to see the parade of trucks out here, and happy to see this footage.
With all the craziness that's going on right now in the United States, with the weather and everything else, it's good to see there's people willing to help and people really come together like this.
Yeah, absolutely, and nice to see the reception they got of people cheering them as they headed out.
Yeah.
So, with that, as we go into go back to football, I think that it'll be interesting to see in the second half. We were talking just as the half wound down there. This is a big time for Knightstown. They know that kind of you feel that weight of history being against you, right? They are trying to win this for the first time in 5 years, and they know it. And Eastern Hancock, this is something that when you win this rivalry games and things like this, you can kind of feel like, okay, this is what it's supposed to feel like, right? But I think Knightstown knows they've got to make a stop here, and it'll be very telling if they can get a stop in that first portion of the third quarter, and then they're going to have to get something going on offense. As much as anything, they're just going to have to find something that they can get consistency out of. So far, that's been the real problem. They haven't been able to do anything consistently well against Eastern Hancock.
And when you're talking about trophies, going back just my high school is 5 years ago, a long time. I mean, I'm old
Absolutely.
now. We had the Hoosier Heritage Conference traveling trophy. In my
Right.
class, we took it away from New Pal.
Yeah.
And that was the big, people, we still talk about that.
Right.
This trophy game is a game they're going to be talking about for a while.
Right, and it's one of those things that, especially once you get on a run and you get on that roll, again, everybody in Eastern Hancock, that from seniors down to freshmen, they've never known anything different.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those funny things with streaks like that, though, because you know, at some point it's going to end, and if you're Knightstown, you've just got to get yourself in that mindset of, this, it's going to end at some point. We might as well go ahead and make that tonight. Yeah. So, as kids still playing out on the field there, teams have yet to come back. I think the other thing from a more analytical standpoint, Eastern Hancock was starting to find their offensive rhythm. And I think that Knightstown defensively, they're going to have to find something that can get them out of that. The little 5-10 yard pass patterns have been really successful for Eastern Hancock. Knightstown's going to have to be able to clamp down on that zone defense. They can still drop back 7 guys, but they're going to have to clamp down on those zones, tighten it up, not allow even the underneath passes.
And we talked about how Knightstown's offense, they're going to plow away. Do you have to make any changes? I mean, you haven't scored since the first 10 seconds of the game.
Right, and it's hard to see what they can change, to be honest with you, because they don't have an offense that's going to allow you to, they can't all of a sudden turn into a run and shoot that's going to throw the ball for 5 yards, 10 yards at a clip. I think that they've just got to take it upon themselves. They're going to have to, from their offensive line and from their backs, they're going to have to find a way to get Tyler Burton some open running room. He has had a little bit of success running the ball, and I think if you can just try to build off of that, then you're going to see what you can come up with. But you've got to be able to build off of that and then not take away. Too many times they'd get even just a little bit of a run, get 10, 15 yards. Burton had a pretty good 25-yard run on his own, but then you set yourself back. This is not an offense that can get back from even first and 20, first and 25. They've got to keep themselves on schedule.
19-7 the score. No, 20-7 the score. I had it right the first time. Next week, Pilman Heights and Mount Vernon. We're going to take a break. We come back. Second half action here on Ninestar TV.
We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Slow down, you blue idiot.
Saving the galaxy takes a lot of guts and a little Groot.
I am Groot? No! That will set off the bomb immediately. Try again. I'm Groot.
No! That's exactly what you just said! How is that even possible?
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
I'm Groot.
Dude!
He's so cute.
Rated PG-13.
When you're out there in the bush, you gotta adapt.
There's a lot of risks living out here.
I gotta make it work.
Ooh. It's a never-ending battle, but it's the only battle I know.
Welcome back out. Charlottesville, Indiana, and Eastern Hancock High School. They're on top of the Knightstown Panthers 20-7. Matt Organ and Mike Petrie on hand. Still some kids playing on the field off to our left. A little bit before the second half starts. Knightstown offense scores first, Eastern answers back, and then you had a little bit of a sludge. No one scoring. Offense is struggling. Eastern finishes out the half strong. What's the number one key for Knightstown to come out pushing strong on the second half?
Well, like I said, I think they've got to disrupt the offensive rhythm that Eastern was getting themselves into. They've got to do something to shake Jarrett Lewis. And it's a crazy idea because Jarrett Lewis is so slippery as a runner, as it is. I think that their initial game plan of sitting back in that zone defense, not really throwing much of a pass rush at them, they were going to rush with their front four and no blitz whatsoever. But, now Lewis has got himself feeling a little more comfortable. You've got to go ahead and take care of – you've got to get him out of not feeling so comfortable. Yeah. Maybe throw a blitz at him.
Yep.
See if you can – even if he's able to escape from that pressure that time, it might throw that rhythm off. I think that's the one hope you've got.
Teams come back onto the field, still waiting on Knightstowners. They just show up and arrive. This, Coach O'Hara here, he settled his team down. Coach Miller trying to do something in the second half. Both these teams right now, battling their way in their class, trying to see if they can make something happen in their conference. And this is a team here in Eastern Hancock that has a chance to do really well in their conference.
Right. And with that, they've gotten their season essentially turned to what they want it to be. And so now it's a matter of reinforcing. And I think that the thing that they've done very well when we've seen Eastern Hancock, when Eastern Hancock has had very successful seasons, going to the state championship a few years back. But when they do that, it is such a consistent effort from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. And it's one of those things where I remember doing a lot of those games that year that you kind of felt bad for the opponents because Eastern Hancock, it wasn't even that they were running the score up, although they certainly got accused of that on more than one occasion. But it wasn't. In truth, it wasn't that. This is a small school. Everybody goes both ways. They had no choice but to essentially run the same offense. And when they were going good, it was guys like Cooper Henderson that would run up the middle. They could run the ball up the middle, and they'd still beat you 55-0.
And Austin Lacey, that arm he had.
Absolutely. And so what you've got with this team, I think that they get themselves up in a game like this. Now, so much of what they are building for is, okay, you've got a team down 20-7. Can you put them away? Can you finish this off? And so I think that this first drive, it's very important from Knightstown's perspective. It's important from Eastern's perspective because when you're the favorite, when you're the team that feels like when you're, again, carrying that weight of history a little bit, you don't want to let a team be one play away.
Yeah.
And so I think that for them, they've got to feel like, okay, now is the time we've got to put this opponent away.
And that Eastern Hancock team that went to state, and not to compare this team to them because they aren't the same,
right?
But that was a senior-led team. You look at this team, this is a very senior-led team. Everyone is culminating to this point of senior year.
Right. So many of these guys, and we were talking about that we feel like they not only a senior-led team that had a lot of guys that have been playing for 4 years. That we're seeing significant action as sophomores, as juniors, as seniors. And so I think that's what really sets this team apart. And I think it's also what helped a team like Eastern Hancock not panic when they were in a game that was 7-7 and their offense just couldn't find any traction. Well, they just kept going to what they do well, and eventually it clicked. And so far they've been able to get up 20-7, and it'll be a big drive here to start this third quarter.
And they get the ball back.
Right.
They get the ball back to start the second half, and what a statement it would be if that first series is a touchdown for Eastern Hancock, kind of not punch you in the mouth to start the second half.
Right.
Burton going to kick off for Knightstown. Meggie and I think Olivo back for Eastern Hancock receiving-wise. It is. Olivo going to get the ball and return it. He'll cross it up to the 34 or so, and he's tackled there.
Yeah, and a nice little pooch kick by Burton. You know, one thing you would think you try to kick the ball as deep as you possibly can, but I think that they realize how dangerous both Maggie and Olivo can be as runners. You don't want to give them any space. Knightstown able to cover pretty effectively there.
You're seeing a lot of 4 receiver sets here offensively for Eastern Hancock. In the beginning of the year, it was a lot of 3, a lot of 2. You're seeing a lot of 4 receiver sets tonight.
Yeah, and I think that they've found some success in that tonight. The more they can spread out a defense, horizontally, they've got some options because you've got Olivo in the backfield, parked right next to Maggie, right next to quarterback Jarrett Lewis right now. But so you spread things out, and then that's going to open some holes up just for Olivo, and it opens things up for Lewis if he decides to run. It really, the more you're getting one-on-one matchups, that's what you want.
Lewis going to keep it himself again, spinning out of the tackle. Gets to about the 39.
And a nice job by Lewis finding a few extra yards there, but a great job by Knightstown. That was number 79, Walker Gorman, the junior defensive lineman, stuck with him and was able to bring him down. Again,
another time Eastern Hancock's able to draw Knightstown off, and that time
Sam Thomas, the
Sam
freshman lineman, and he knew it as soon as he got himself up out of his stance. Obviously not quite offsides until you come across that line, but once he had got himself up, there was no stopping.
Yeah. That's the situation right there where that penalty sets you up really, really well for Eastern Hancock. They're even have to come out and measure to see if they got a first down.
Right. You go from third and 6, 3rd and 5 to 3rd and less than a yard essentially.
Bring the sticks out. Eastern Hancock's offense has been on a roll. And they continue here with the first down. Ooh, I don't know. They said first down, then they said, oh, hold on, bring it back.
I've never seen an instant replay on the first down measurement, but that's what
they
we
gave
had.
It to them.
Okay.
So 1st and 10. Again, penalties hurting Knightstown.
Absolutely.
I mean, some of them, that pass interference call, what can you do about it? But some of them are just self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, as much as anything, you got to keep yourself off your schedule. You can't make this any harder.
Olivo breaks through a hole, makes the tackler miss, and keeps going. That sophomore has so much power early.
Yeah, he is definitely showcasing his ability, and he's done a nice job of filling in, just taking some of the pressure off of that Eastern Hancock offense.
And to have a guy, your best running back, Spencer Maxwell, is out, and to have a guy like this be able to come and fill his place and do this good of a job, man, that makes you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lewis going to keep it himself, get to the outside. Flags fly, though, in the backfield. He'll get 6 or 7.
So again, we see the bugaboo on the offensive side.
Yeah.
You're gonna be looking at moving that back to due to penalty, and then again 1st and 20. Not quite as detrimental to what Eastern Hancock's gonna try to do, but it's definitely not what they're looking for.
This almost feels like a week 1 matchup.
Yeah.
You're having those little penalties. You're having the little mistakes on the offensive defensive side. This is week 5 though.
Right. You would think that it shouldn't be that. You shouldn't be seeing that for sure.
And it's going to, Coach Miller and Coach O'Hara, it's got to drive them insane.
Yeah.
So you lose all that yardage that Lewis able to gain with his feet. They're at 1st and 20. Again, you get them off sides. And that one, running right into the lineman.
And I'll give Lewis credit. Obviously, there's something that he's doing with his snap count that is drawing Knightstown off. And a couple of times he got the freshman the one time, but a couple of times he's gotten the whole defensive line to come.
That times he gets the junior Walker Gorman. Lewis back to Olivo. He finds another hole, breaks through again.
Man, he is just so fast through that hole. And you know, not a lot of moves, he's not necessarily having to break a ton of tackles, but he just gets through that hole, and then it's, you know, he's 5 yards before you blink.
Some runners are power runners. This guy's just going to get through there so quickly.
Yeah.
It's time to Meggie. Meggie looking for an opening.
And, you know, it's funny, both these teams run the options so effectively that even after he handed off to Meggie, the quarterback carrying on as if he has it. And, you know, I'm second-guessing myself. I know the defense is second-guessing itself and is probably not able to devote full resources to taking down the running back.
Olivo losing some yards that time. Battle is still going on, obviously, but if you had to look at the lines right now, who's winning out?
Well, it's funny because it's one of these things where between the 20s, it's clearly Eastern Hancock is winning the battles of the lines. But once you get back to this 20-yard line, this is where Knightstown was really able to bow its back early on in the first half, and they're doing a good job of that here.
4th and 3. Back to Lewis's arm. Just out of the hands. A good pass. Blaze Sarber not able to come up with it, though. Right through the gloves.
Right through the gloves, so that'll be a turnover on downs, and Knightstown gets what they need. You know, it wasn't a 3-and-out, but they were able to keep Eastern Hancock out of the end zone, and essentially, you know, you have to make one play to get back to one play.
Yep.
And I think that if Knightstown can have a decent drive here, just string together 2-3 first downs, get themselves in a position where one big play gets them, you know, one score away, that's what they have to look for.
Tyler Burton back under center. Option ensuing. Up the middle this time with Simmons, and he powers his way. And that's someone you really want to see Knightstown get going is Simmons. You know, the guy that's got 34 carries, the only one that's carried the ball more than him is Tyler Burton.
Right.
And you haven't seen much of him.
No, he had a little bit of a struggle in that first half, early in the first half with he fumbled and then almost fumbled the second time. But, what it is you can't run straight up a fullback straight up the middle when it's, again, 2nd and 10, when it's 3rd and 15. You've got to go to different parts of your game plan.
This time handing it off to Jose Olivo. He'll get a few. And you got to give credit to Eastern Hancock for really taking Knightstown's offense out of their game. You want to have those, you know, first down we get 5 yards, second down we get 6 yards. And when you take them out of that, things got to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what it is that Eastern is winning that battle at the point of attack, and Knightstown depends. They've got to stay ahead of schedule. They've got to, you know, the schedule is it's 1st and 10, then 2nd and 6, then 3rd and 2, then, you know, first down. You know, boom, 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 boom. And then, again, that's how they lull you to sleep. But if they get you in the situation where they are not able to string together first downs, then you really never fall into any of those traps that you would as a defense because they're just not on the field long enough. And to Eastern Hancock's credit, they're playing assignment football well enough that the option is not fooling them. It's one of those things, and both these teams run option enough that you know they've seen it.
Yep. And this is a time for Knightstown. Now you stop Eastern Hancock in their opening possession of the second half. Try to answer back. Burton going to take it up the middle himself. Just bullies his way.
Yeah, absolutely. He needed to get his lineman out of his way. He a little bit of it looked like maybe a quick snap there, and caught Eastern Hancock unaware. Yeah, you see them. The line is able to just clear a path, and then Burton squirts through that, able to pick up the first down. So nice run by Tyler Burton. So that's one first down. Now again, challenge is just stringing these together. And what you also do then is you keep the Eastern Hancock defense on the field. Playing both ways, you wouldn't think that it makes a difference, but gosh, it's a lot more fun to play offense.
Yeah. Burton going to go back to pass. Firing it down the side. Open, and he catches it.
And that's Lane Parker.
He's going to get into the end zone and score. And he just jumped up and snagged it out of the air.
Yeah, just a fantastic job getting back behind the Eastern Hancock defense and then able to go up and come down with that one. Nice throw by Burton. And again, me being the smart announcer, I was about to say I'm not sure if it's time to throw the ball just yet, but obviously Knightstown able to make that work, and a great pitch and catch by Burton to Parker, and a great run by Parker at the end of it.
Schaetzel's kick is up, and it's through. Closing the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you've got yourself, it's a one-score game, and there's something especially tantalizing if you're the team coming from behind that you're only down 6.
Yep.
You know you are a score and a point after touchdown away from taking a lead, so you feel really good about what you can do. Going back to that play, what really impressed me was Parker's ability to go up, make the catch, get himself down, and all in one motion. It was come down with the ball, get himself spun around, and able to go forward. And really, once he was down on the ground, he was stretching out that lead over the cornerback. So
after struggling so long, they didn't. Last time they scored was the first minute of the game.
Right.
To finally break through. This is high school football that we love. Friday nights, you're 6-point game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing better.
And now it'll be interesting to see how Eastern can respond, because they had a pretty good drive on their first go-round, but just unable to finish that drive. That's the part that is driving Coach O'Hara crazy right now, is that just not finishing the drives. They've had a couple that have just gone to that have ended right at the 20 or inside the 20-yard line.
R.W. Locker, fair catching the ball on the kickoff. You don't see that too often.
No, a solid play. When you're the up man, a lot of times you do those pooch kicks as a special teams, hoping that the up man feels like he has to catch the ball, because he's not ready for that. But he did a nice job of going back, fielding it, and taking that fair catch so that he could just safely catch it and then go to the ground, secure the ball.
After the turnover on downs, Eastern Hancock offense back out and right back to Olivo.
Yeah, and he's really been a dynamic force for this offense. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of Lewis. Lewis doesn't have to do both running and passing, but as much as anything, it kind of gives him a couple of plays off every drive now. He can just hand the ball off. He doesn't have to worry about getting hit.
In that first quarter, a little bit shaky, but since the second quarter, he's been steady.
Yeah, absolutely.
Confident you're going to get 3-4 out of him at least. Lewis firing to left side. It's caught. Splater there again.
And again, these are the pass patterns where I feel like Eastern Hancock, they can go to this the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And I haven't really seen Knightstown have anything they can do defensively to stop that. It's too quick for you to really have any effective pass rush unless you are past the lineman off the snap essentially, and unless you can maybe throw a double coverage out there underneath, not a lot you can do.
Again, back to the side. This time Coker. Clayton Coker, the senior that time.
And what we've seen with Lewis, when Eastern's going well, he can spread the ball around. We've seen there are 8 different guys coming into today that have caught a ball for Eastern Hancock. So, he's pretty good at spreading it around. A.J. Maggie was the guy. He had 14 catches coming in.
Olivo breaks through again.
Goodness. And, Maggie had 14 catches. He's had, I believe, 1 catch so far tonight. But really, Knightstown's done a good job of taking him out of the game. Now it's the other weapons that are having big nights. And Luke Splater, foremost among them, he's got 2 touchdown catches and I believe 6 catches overall. So coming into tonight, he had 5. Now he's at least doubled that.
We talked about at the beginning of the game, the balance. They found a passing game that works for them, and they're heavy pass right now. Back to the air with Lewis. Trying to find some more time. Rolling back to his right, firing it downfield, and he finds an open man. Connor Bennett with the catch.
Yeah, a great job by Lewis. These were the plays where Knightstown really had bottled him up in that first half because they had dropped so many back in coverage. He can roll around, and he does a great job of extending this play and finally find somebody in the hole in that zone, and Connor Bennett does a great job catching that ball, going to the ground, and protecting the catch.
Another sophomore with the catch there. Lewis, back to pass, rolling around again, just out of reach of Bennett that time.
Yeah, and good coverage there. I believe that was Bruce Nichols on the coverage for Knightstown again on that one.
Still a little bit of room for a first down, so second down and 10.
Right.
But it's, a yard at most.
I always felt like that was beneficial. Like I always felt like 1st and 10 at the 11 felt better for whatever reason than 1st and goal at the 9.
Maggie in the backfield, 3 receivers left, 1 right. Olivo taking this one off. Well, we'll give it to Maggie. He's rushing to the outside. He gets 3 or 4.
And does a good job of just squirting through the little bit of a crease. I wouldn't even call it a hole there, but he found that crease and was able to get upfield, get just as many yards as he could.
So 3rd down, about 7 or 8.
And quick substitution here from Eastern Hancock.
This is the longest we've seen them take in between plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Brady Stevens coming off the field, the lineman.
And they're going to have to take a timeout.
Yeah.
3rd and 8, like I said, just that sliver for a first down. You want to try and make sure you get to that.
Right, but the one advantage when you're not a big when you don't throw the ball a whole lot, or when you don't kick the ball a whole lot, it's 4-down territory.
Yep.
You don't have to get all 8 yards here. We see next up for the Royals, the North Decatur Chargers, and
conference game.
Yeah. I think the play calls here, it'll be interesting. Olivo, we see dancing around on the sideline, not out of joy. He's trying to work out a cramp, it looks like, in his legs, and he knows it too, as Spencer Maxwell giving him a little grief right in front of us. Next up for the Knightstown Panthers, the team with the strangest helmets in Indiana high school football, taking off of both Michigan teams, the Shenandoah Raiders.
So 3rd and 8. Oliva still working out that cramp, so Maggie back in the backfield. 4 receivers, 2 to each side. No tight ends. 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Trying to extend their lead.
Oh,
that
the false
time,
start.
yeah, that time you get the defense off, but your receivers are moving.
and they're coming back to the sideline or to the huddle, and they're getting death stares because this was all worked out in the timeout. You had all time to think about it. You were going on 4, 3, okay, go.
And when the way the huddle works is, they don't do a traditional huddle, so to speak, but it's, you say the play once, receivers leave, you say the play again.
Yeah.
Receivers got to hear it that first time because they're getting it once.
Yeah.
So now you go 3rd and 12.
In some ways, this might be a little beneficial. It opens up the field a little bit, and again, because you don't have to get to the end zone on this play.
Yeah.
There's going to be some opportunities underneath.
Lewis to the air. Has to get out of the pocket. Can't find an opening. Still on his feet, though. Firing at the last second. Tapped around down.
And a great job by Lewis just keeping that play alive. I kept waiting for him to run out of room there on the sideline. And as we see, some great camera work. And Tucker Personette is going to be chasing Jarrett Lewis tonight. He's been just out of his reach all night.
And good job by Lewis. Know where the sideline is. Know how much room he has.
Yep.
that's that 4 years, 3 years of experience at the quarterback position.
And we were talking about not kicking a field goal, but they are going to go ahead and try a field goal here. A.J. Maggie lining up.
Lewis gets the snap down. Field goal no good.
No, that was not a great effort.
No. First time they do try it.
Yeah, that's the first field goal attempt, and A.J. Maggie's not going to like that in film room tomorrow.
Stay after practice a few times.
Right.
Make some extra kicks.
Yeah. That's one of those ones, if Eastern Hancock comes away with a victory.
Yeah, funny.
That's a really funny moment. Yeah. But again, you see another Eastern Hancock drive just come down in the red zone. That's 3 times they've gotten inside the 20 and haven't been able to come away with points.
So now, again, Knightstown defense, they get in that 20 and they clamp down.
Yeah.
Now they have a chance to answer back on offense. And you mentioned earlier, it's only 6 points, just the tantalizing effect of we can take the lead.
Right.
Simmons up the middle, bouncing off a tackler, spinning and down, gets the first down, though.
Yeah, and we're seeing Simmons perhaps getting stronger here in the second half. Big physical runner, and of course we talked about Burton being a big physical runner as well. They're going to have a little bit better day here in the second half as both teams wear down, and this is where this heat again it comes into play. Everybody on this Eastern Hancock defensive line has been playing both ways. They've been out there. Now we're going on a couple hours.
Tyler Burton going to keep it himself outside. Maybe gets one.
Right. Nice job by Eastern Hancock again, cutting off all the other options for him. Burton just had to kind of tuck and run, get what he could.
And the big key to this option, obviously, is the disguise.
Yeah.
The disguise of where the ball's going.
So we see Caleb Giddings. We were talking about his father, Brian Giddings, one of the Ninestar Connect linemen going down to Florida. Caleb Giddings getting in on it, averaging about 4.5 tackles per game.
Playing defensive back over there. Burton going to hand it off to Olivo. He'll lose one.
And a great job by that defensive line of Eastern Hancock. They knock the Knightstown offensive line back off the ball, able to explode into that, and that handoff goes nowhere. So we're looking at 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9 for the Panthers.
A lot of times those defensive lines go unnoticed. You get a play like that, and you get noticed.
Absolutely. Olivo hopping off the field. He heads over to his sideline, and he's working through a cramp. You can see him on opposite ends. Victor on one side, Jose on the other side.
Get more water in you. Pitch. A second pitch. This one tipped by Maggie, though. Dive for it. We'll see who comes up with it. Eastern Hancock.
And a great job by A.J. Maggie with the anticipation there. With
laundry
waiting.
On the field, though.
And we'll see what that is. That's back where the offensive line initially was. Great replay here as Maggie does a fantastic job tipping that ball and knocking it away from the running back.
And that's that assignment, though. You can't go too hard to
Right.
the guy that's got the pitch. You get in the middle there, and you can stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Refs talking out. We'll see if the turnover stands.
And that's a hold against Knightstown. So Eastern will decline that, and they will go ahead and take over 1st and 10. And they get another shot. Second time they've recovered a fumble deep inside Knightstown territory.
And after that last possession, if you're Lewis, give me the ball back. Give me the ball back. I want my opportunity.
Yeah, he's had a lot of opportunities. You feel like this doesn't. If you're or really both teams, you kind of look at this. This doesn't feel like it's a 6-point game, and that's frustrating if you're Eastern Hancock, and it's great if you're Knightstown.
Victor Olivo back in. Lewis fakes to him and takes it himself.
And going to get taken down over by the sideline there.
Derek Lewis on the keeper gain of about 9 yards. Second down and 1.
Starting to get a little bit of coolness. Still not the weather we had last week, but The sun down now.
Yeah, with the sun down, but it's still in the 70s, so
Yeah.
certainly still a hot, muggy night. Feels more like August.
Lewis trying to find an opening, pitches it to Maggie underhanded. Maggie dancing around. Doesn't get much out of it.
No, and the whistle blows, and he's like, "What? Why'd that whistle blow?"
And Lewis just has that ability. He extends every play, almost the Ben Roethlisberger effect.
Yeah,
You know, he can just keep
absolutely.
extending.
Keep extending, slipping out of tackles, and then the ability to calmly dish to Maggie as well is really impressive.
You know, that's one of those things where even under pressure, you know, he's got that confidence, that coolness of,
Yep.
3-year starter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hands the ball off to Maggie. Maggie trying to find an opening, hit at the line though.
He's
Might
hit
have
at
gotten the
line.
first down.
I was going to say he only needed the one, and I think that's actually been one of the keys to success from Eastern Hancock's point of view. They've strung a couple more drives together, and a lot of that is, okay, I need two. You've got to know where the 2 yards is. Like, you're not going to hit a home run every time.
Yep.
You've got to know a couple of times it's 3rd and 2. I need to know at that point is where I'm getting to.
Lewis handing off to Olivo. He goes to the outside, cuts up the field, flags fly.
Just too many penalties.
A lot.
Really going both ways, too.
We'll see what the refs mark and say. He makes a great cut here, though.
Yeah. We hadn't seen him have to make a whole lot of cuts. It was a lot more straight line, take the ball and go, go right at the hole. That time he follows his blocker, does a good job, and able to cut off of his blocker.
Flag's going to be on Eastern Hancock. You negate that entire gain.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like you see it referenced more when you see like a long kickoff return, and it's not a 5-yard penalty; it's a 95-yard penalty.
Yep.
That's what you're having here. It's not 10 yards for holding; it's 20 yards for holding because the hold happened, and it's not. A lot of times, it hasn't necessarily been a situation where it's needed for the run. Like that's not what sprung that run necessarily, but. All the same, Eastern Hancock, they've got the lead and the ball driving deep.
Up by 6. We'll be heading to the 4th quarter. Eastern Hancock 20, Knightstown 14. We'll be back with high school football on Ninestar.
Deep breath. Enfocarse bien.
The intensity has to be high every single pitch.
Me voy a ganar esta batalla. Let's go.
What a catch. It's gone! The ball game is over.
Major League Baseball all season long on ESPN.
Welcome back to Eastern Hancock High School. You see our upcoming games.
And Pendleton Heights, they're coming off a tough one. It was, last I checked, 21-0 New Pal beating Pendleton Heights. New Pal is just relentless.
Almost any 4A school, you're gonna take them apart.
And then on the flip side, though, Mount Vernon going after their 2nd win of the season tonight. They are leading at last check, Delta 17-14.
Close one there. Meggie in at quarterback. Lewis going off to the side. Meggie going to run it himself up to the middle.
And that's nice. You run. You generally wouldn't think you need a wildcat necessarily when you've got Jarrett Lewis, who might be the leading rusher tonight, whether Olivo's taken over that or not. But, you don't necessarily need that. But it's nice to have just a little bit different look that you can throw, especially you get this deep in the game. Knightstown's seen every other look, so you throw one fresh thing at them, at least give yourself something to play with.
Lewis will be back to quarterback. He'll roll to his right. Firing. Meggie going to make the catch.
And a nice catch. And again, there's that 10, 15-yard pass. really letting Lewis, he just throws it. He's got such good velocity on it and a good line on that throw, and threw it to a spot that Maggie had to get to. I think that was the big key. When he threw that ball, Maggie wasn't open yet. He hadn't even broken out of the out route. He went ahead and threw it to where Maggie was going to be and anticipated there.
Power offense look. Maggie going to run it up the middle. Going back to that pass, how hard is it for a young quarterback to be rolling to his right and throw the ball?
Yeah, absolutely, and to be accurate with it. And as much as anything, that's a timing issue that, again, you take for granted, but these guys have played together for 3-4 years now, and he knew where A.J. Maggie was going to be because A.J. Maggie's been there for the last 3 years. And that's where the accuracy is really hard to get is, again, you're not throwing it to an open guy. You're throwing it to where A.J. Maggie's going to be.
Run to Olivo, it looks like.
Yep, and again, Knightstown is they're bend but don't break. If you are Coach Kevin Miller, you'd like it maybe a little earlier.
Yeah.
You'd like to get your offense back with a little better field position, but you take it here because, 3rd and 5 at the 5, that's, Eastern really has just bogged down here inside the red zone.
Back to that 4-receiver look. Olivo going to find a hole in the middle, and he gets in the end zone. The sophomore scores the touchdown.
Yeah, and a nice run there. Well executed from Eastern Hancock. They're able to open up a hole, and as we've seen really all night, it takes one hole, and Olivo able to burst through that.
So quick, finds an opening, bounces off the tackler, gets in. And that makes that lead a little bit longer. Another hill to climb for Knightstown.
Absolutely, but they can take some courage from their from the last score that they had. In fact, both of their scores, they've been able to make up the play very quickly. They're going to go for 2 here, and
they get it.
They get it. So it goes from a 6-point lead to a 14-point lead, but Knightstown knows they're going to have a couple more possessions. They've just got to make them worthwhile. They've got to score here.
Fireworks go off here in Charlottesville, Indiana. Student section alive and well.
And let's see here, as Pendleton Heights should say, sticking with New Pal about as well as I've seen anybody do in a regular season is 21-7. They get a big play, and it was last week for Pendleton Heights. It was Eli Pancole with the 4 touchdown receptions that really, when they got their passing game going, it was pretty impressive to see.
And talk about an athlete. Eli Pancole is a guy who's been playing varsity basketball, varsity football since he was a freshman. And
right.
I mean, I've not seen the entire state, but he has to be one of the best athletes, and especially his jumping ability in the state.
Absolutely. Impressive jumping ability and just impressive speed for such a big guy.
Maggie going to kick it off. Nick Walsh going to pick it up for Knightstown. Walsh gets rid of one tackler, tries to sidestep another, can't do so. Back behind the 15, and not a good start, Knightstown, with 9.5 minutes left.
No, not at all. And great coverage by Eastern Hancock. It's a clown car getting out of there. There's 10 different Eastern Hancock Royals coming off of the tackle there. Just a fantastic job. You get the one guy that's able to slow down the returner, and then the caravan arrives.
Yep.
And just a fantastic job of gang tackling.
Swarm the ball, they always say.
Yeah, absolutely.
28-14, that 2-point conversion, putting Eastern Hancock back to where the normal score would be, and that's huge.
Yeah, it's one point, and it really doesn't change what the strategy will be for Knightstown, but it feels a little different.
Yeah. Knightstown with Simmons up the gut. That's not a bad 3 or 4. If they can keep chipping those way back to their regularly scheduled offense, so to speak.
Absolutely. They have enough time. They're going to get 2 clean possessions in this game. They don't have to radically alter their offense just to try to, it doesn't have to be bombs away trying to catch up and make all this up in 1 or 2 plays. They can run their regular offense for a little bit here at the very least.
This time, Burton going to keep it himself and pays the price for it.
Yeah, great job again by that Eastern Hancock defensive line. Looking at the line there, that was number 79 for the Eastern Hancock defense, Jacob Miller.
And you see the frustration setting in a little bit there.
Yeah.
That line just overpowered that time.
Right, and nowhere for Burton to go. And that's the easiest way to defuse an option offense is if you can get to the quarterback before it's time for him to even have an option, then you really can shut them down.
To the air, Burton fires right side, and it's going to be caught. That time it's Personette. He'll make it out. Gets past the 40, breaks through a tackle, still running to the outside. About the 47, flag fly late.
Flags flying late. I'm wondering if that might be 15 more on top. That might, again, just based on where the penalty flag was, that's looking like a face mask one way or the other.
Personette's still down, though. Look at the replay here. He breaks few tackles. I mean, he's a big receiver. Makes a couple cuts back.
He is. If I could criticize one thing, he kept coming across the field. It was like he was looking for somebody to break a tackle. He's like, you can't tackle me. And
you see the kneeling down again. Sportsmanship here on effect, as always here in Indiana.
Yep. And that's first catch Personette's had tonight, I believe.
He's had a few targets. He's the big play guy for them downfield at least.
And that's going to be a block in the back.
That hurts. Personette does get off, though. Happy to see him being okay.
So, very, very happy to see him get up, but a block in the back, that doesn't hurt as much as it would.
Yeah.
It's a 10-yard penalty, but it's from the spot, so they still get a first down. It'll still be 1st and 10.
Yeah. And you finally find, they're connecting on a pass that had some oomph to it, and they were able to get down the field.
Yeah, that one of the few times they've been able to find any openings in that in the Eastern Hancock defense.
Max Muncy taking the near side role of Personette. Burton back to pass again. Looks over to Muncy, a little short.
Yeah, a little short, and he's lucky that he was a little short. If that pass had been on target, more than likely that one's getting taken the other way. That was Connor Bennett looking to undercut the route.
You see the replay here, you'll see the defender right at the end come right through, and he had a chance if it was there to pick that one off, go the other way. 2nd and 10. You're seeing a little bit of different set here. You don't have the near side running back as they look to go back to the air. Burton rolling and throwing. Maggie almost comes up with the interception. Drops it at the last second. Looks at us. Why are you hitting me? His teammate hit him midair. Wilkinson the one colliding with him.
We see that pass rush. The pass rush starting to really bother Knightstown. As we see, that was, again, Jacob Miller, and looked like, I was trying to get the number on that, looked like maybe Wes Myers on the pursuit there.
And that's one of those big differences you're going to know offense-wise. If Burton gets in trouble, he doesn't have the experience of throwing the ball 40 times. He's going to have to try to run and make something happen. Lewis comes there calm, cool, and collected. Burton, deep down the right side, way over his receiver.
Yeah, just Muncy didn't have a chance to get out there.
But, Lewis, he's been there. He's seen it 40 times a game. Burton gets back, and he's running all over. And you see just maybe that panic set in for a moment.
Yep, absolutely.
.7:28 left in the game. Knightstown down by 2 full scores now.
It'll be a big 4th down here. This is really where where you're in difficult position trying to decide what to do, because whatever 4th and 10 you got, that's a tough, that's a low percentage play. Punting the ball back, though, you've got 7.5 minutes left. Maybe if you felt good about your chances that your punter could pin the Royals back, maybe you go.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a pretty big risk to take, that you're going to punt it and get the ball back twice. I'm not sure if I'd be willing to try that.
Refs have 3rd down on the far side. Now they're going to come and correct that, though.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought it was 4th.
I thought it was 4th as well, but now it's got me doubting it. But I think we can trust our man up here. It's 4th down. No, they're still sticking with 3rd, though. We'll see.
Burton again under center. Anytime they take away one of those running backs, they go to the air, and that's how they do again.
Yeah, and that time the play
Lane
was
Parker.
open. Lane Parker running free there. It was just, again, Burton not throwing the ball it's simply not one of his strengths. He can do it. He can throw. He has a good arm, but it's just not particularly accurate. He came into today only throwing 36 passes for a reason, that he's not particularly accurate with that one. That one he overthrows Parker by a pretty fair amount.
And you're throwing the ball less than 10 times a game, and you don't get
Yeah.
to practice at it.
Right.
And you got a guy like Lewis who's thrown the ball 72 times this year.
Yeah, and even that's not a crazy amount. I think Eastern Hancock, if they were to be honest, they would say they prefer, running it to passing it, at a 2-to-1 ratio, but certainly not at the ratio that you have with Knightstown. There, it's like 4-to-1.
Yeah, and tonight, Lewis has got to be over 20 attempts.
Yeah, I would think so.
Tonight they found something they think works, and they're going to keep throwing it.
And I think that's the one big advantage that he gives you is that, you can be flexible in your game plan. You can game plan. When you're setting up your offensive game plan, you want to play to your strengths, but you also want to be able to play to what the defense can give you. So you play to their weaknesses where you can, and you play to what is working on a given night. You can stretch your playbook one way or another to just react. Okay, this is what's going tonight. We'll go ahead and stick with that. Knightstown, a little bit one-dimensional in the sense that they really have to have their running game going before anything else will work.
Yeah. Looks like they're gonna go for it on 4th down. Burton back to pass again, looking right, has to roll to his left, trying to find an opening. Still on his feet. Finds an open man at Parker.
And that's a great
They're
catch.
going to say he caught it.
Did he get it? Did he get enough for the first, though?
Might be a little short of the 1st down.
That would be too bad. He did a great job coming back to his quarterback. They are saying 1st down for Eastern Hancock. That's a tough ruling. If I'm Knightstown, there have been other ones I thought that were further away that maybe deserved a rule or the chains coming out.
Yeah.
But that one, they are just clearly ruling. No, that's a 1st down going the other way. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't at least measure.
Yeah. Now, Knightstown's best hope is a quick stop here.
Yeah.
You're down by 2 touchdowns. You can't let any time go off this clock.
Absolutely.
You only have 7:13 left now.
Right, and Eastern Hancock, in a bit of unfamiliar territory, they run such a quick fire offense. They're gonna, run the ball and maybe try to work the clock a little bit.
Victor Olivo up the middle, still on his feet, trying to get 3 or 4 more, but refs finally blow it dead.
Want to point out we're happy to report Tucker Personette back on the field on the defensive side. He made a nice catch and went out briefly for the rest of that offensive series for Knightstown, but he is back out, so that's good to see.
Crowd a little bit more silent now than they were earlier. Not the energy we had at the beginning of the game. Second down and 8.
Interesting to see how Eastern Hancock plays this. You've got second and long.
Again, a run up the middle to Olivo, and he's going to get 9.
Well, when you can get 9 yards running it straight up the middle, that definitely makes life a lot easier as a play caller because, they're not in a position where they could just kneel on the ball 3 times and punt it away. They're not going to worry about that. But when you're a threat to get that first down, even on 2nd and 8, 3rd and 9, things like that, by just running up the middle, it makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah. So 1st and 10. Ball's on the 35. Lewis going to give it back to Olivo. Keep what's working. He'll get a first down and more. Down inside the 20.
Yeah, just a fantastic night for Victor Olivo.
Especially in the second half. He has owned this field.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about the power backs that were having more success in the second half. I think that Victor Olivo's taken advantage of some tired arms trying to tackle him. Not necessarily he's been able to break through a couple of tackles, but more than anything, he's getting past the point where the tacklers are. He's just a step fresher and a step ahead of them.
Lewis back to Olivo again. And you go from a back like Maxwell, who, yes, has speed, but he's also a guy that's going to plow you over. And you go to a guy like this who's just going to run right by you. To be able to switch between that, obviously Maxwell not there tonight. But
right. The more options that you have, it gets to be, the only downside is you only got one ball.
Yeah.
But so many different things that they can do. You see the progression of this Eastern Hancock offense in the fact that A.J. Maggie had so many yards and so many catches early on in the season, and he's still a very dangerous weapon. Take nothing away from him, but because there are these other options, it's going to eventually actually make him that much more dangerous when a defense can't key on it.
Back to the workhorse again, this time hitting the backfield.
Yeah, nice job by Knightstown. That was number 65,
Garrett
Thomas. Senior offensive lineman, defensive lineman. He had seen enough of that. So we see 3rd and 5 now.
Approaching the 4-minute mark.
A nice job by Eastern Hancock so far. They've already just worked 3 minutes off the clock. They've only gone about 25 yards so far.
Yeah. Spending the play clock down to under 5 each time. Lewis takes the snap. Olivo again hitting the backfield. That time, Aiden Orcutt with the tackle. Not the end of the world, though. Right now, you're really focusing on this clock. You do go to 4th down, so.
Right, and I assume they will go for it. Here, your playbook opens back up. You were running the ball. You were content to run it out.
Yeah.
And again, because you have been able to pick up first downs by doing that, it allows your offense to do that. Now, there's no worry about the clock. It's 4th down. You can throw the ball. So I think that this is a challenge for Eastern Hancock, just in the sense that you got to change gears up a little bit on offense. You've been going high-powered all night, and now
firing right side, a catch. Blaze Sarber.
Blaze Sarber comes down with it, and a fantastic job. That was, again, Jarrett Lewis throwing to a spot and just letting his receiver get to it. Sarber did a nice job getting back behind the defense. That was number 24, Dawson Smith, the senior defensive back, that had the short part of the zone, and Mason Carmichael, the safety, not able to get back over.
Flag's going to bring the touchdown back.
Oh, that's a shame.
A great play and a great catch by Sarber, the junior, but those flags, not as much as a hurt this time, this late in the game, but still something, Coach O'Hara's taking notes of for practice.
Right, absolutely. Well, and it just hurts in terms of the fact that if you're Eastern Hancock, you really feel like you should have a dominant print on this game. You know, it should not be a 2-score game. It should be a 4 or a 5-score game. But, you know, they've gotten down inside the 20 and have not scored at least 3 times. I believe 4 maybe.
Lewis firing down the field. This time going back to Splater, but just over his head.
Yeah, and Splater a little slow getting up, but it looks like he's all right. As if anything, that was an impressive display of arm strength, even if the pass wasn't complete. But from about 35 yards out, he throws it on a line and almost took off Splater's arm.
2:31 left in the game.
But that penalty, big just in the sense that it moves the ball out. Knightstown gives them a second life. Again, they've got to get one big play to get another big play.
Yep. You need to score here quick. You know, as much as this option has been your lifeblood so far this year, you got to do something to score quick, whether that be a running play or here a passing play. Burton throw. Short.
And again, he had Parker on the wheel route. A really well-designed play call, but it looked like Parker was open, but he just threw it behind Parker. And again, we've talked a couple of times about Lewis throwing to the spot where the receiver is going to be when he comes out of a break. That time, he essentially threw it to where Parker was, and Parker, of course, running forward by the time it gets to him. It's, you know, five yards back.
Lane Parker, John Simmons, Tyler Burton, the big keys for this offense, and of course Tucker Personette, but most of them really been in check tonight. This one going to Personette, in and out of the hands.
Yeah, great job on the defensive end there by Eastern Hancock. That was Connor Bennett, the sophomore defensive back. Now Connor Bennett comes in. He is 6 foot 150. He weighs in at that. Tucker Personette is 6'2", 210.
Yeah.
And Bennett went up and had no fear whatsoever. He able to poke it away.
When you look at the cogs of this machine, that is the option offense.
Yeah.
The 4 cogs that we just spoke to, not really working out tonight.
No, just not able to get everybody in sync all at once.
I do use a screenplay here. John Simmons with the ball, tries to stiff arm, but tackle down, but flags fly.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna be a face mask on the.
Friesen was the tackler.
On Friesen, I think that's what he's gonna get knocked for that, because he got a stiff arm, and I think that if you look at it, well,
I don't know.
Maybe not. It looked like they are calling that against him. That one looked like, because the flag came from behind.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the way that Simmons went down, it looked like he had been grabbed by the face mask. But I think that was one, just kind of an unlucky play for Eastern.
Yep. Just over 2 minutes left in this game. First down for Knightstown because of the penalty. And back to pass, Burton goes again. Deep down the right side. Personette in the area. Overthrew him.
Yep. And as much as anything, you know, Burton obviously being put in a position where he's having to throw the ball a whole lot more than he's used to. But what you're looking for from a quarterback, you may not complete every pass. You've just got to give your receiver a chance, though. If it comes down to the defensive back is going to knock the ball away some of the time, that's fine. You can live with that. But you want to at least put the ball in a position where Tucker Personette has a chance to go up and get it.
Yeah.
You know, Personette with his basketball skills, Burton with his basketball skills, you know, they have connected that way. You've got to give them a chance to go up and come down with the ball.
To Personette again, and Bennett there in defense.
Yeah, and a nice job by Bennett. And again, that ball just overthrown Personette. They're not able to connect down the field that well.
When you can drop 7 people, you know, back in defense here, it's really hard to find an opening.
Yeah, and Personette turned into, once the ball was up over his head, he did a nice job of recognizing it. He turns into the defender.
Yep.
And he is in a position, it doesn't even matter if offensive pass interference would have been called on him. He knew no matter what, Eastern Hancock can't come down with the ball here.
Minute 46 left in the game. Third down. Burton loses the ball. Eastern Hancock comes up with it. Gabe Loyler running it back the other way. And Eastern Hancock excited.
Yeah, they deserve to be. The defense has done a nice job all night, and they've created plays. And that time, again, they were able to create the play and make it work.
Gabe Lawler, the one that comes up with the ball that time. Runs it back the other way, and you got to think just a few plays to run this clock out with 1:36 left.
Right. Trying to remember, I believe Knightstown has called one timeout so far, so they're going to have a chance at stopping the clock, but down 2 scores, we'll see how aggressive they are at trying to stop this clock.
The knee goes down, and maybe they won't.
We're just going to inform that Jarrett Lewis now owns every single Eastern Hancock passing record.
PA announcer giving some good news for Eastern Hancock. Jarrett Lewis now owns, according to the PA announcer, every passing record in Eastern Hancock's record book.
Right.
The senior getting a round of applause.
A well-deserved round of applause. A couple of headbutts from his teammates. So after they were going to let him snap and take a knee, but they're still showing first down.
Clock's still running.
So it's 2nd and 10. Now it'll be 3rd and 10.
50 seconds left on the clock. You got to think just one more knee will do it.
Yep.
A big shout out to Jarrett Lewis tonight with the ability he was. He stayed in it, struggled throwing the ball early, but he found a way and had a successful night.
Absolutely. He was able to find something that was going to work for him, and he made it. Made the rest of the night his, just because he was able to really make his whole, find himself a rhythm, and he kept going at it until he found that rhythm.
Eastern Hancock improves to 4-1. What do you take away from a game like tonight where you struggle early, you come out with this win that's really exciting like this? What do you take from this, and what do you do moving forward?
Well, I've always heard that this is the coach's delight, because you win the game, you win a rivalry game,
yep.
You win a game when you're not playing your best. That shows good toughness, good character on the part of your team. But also, there's going to be plenty of stuff in the film room that you get to tell your team about. Here's where we're going to improve.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of technical aspects that you can improve upon, but it's a whole lot nicer to improve upon those things if you win. This is a game where if Knightstown had come away with a victory, Eastern Hancock would have been kicking themselves, because they get down and not, don't score inside the 20-yard line 4 different times. But even with that, you come away with a victory. So you kind of know, yes, tonight's effort was good enough to win, and yes, there's a lot of room where we can improve upon for next week.
And that's what Knightstown's focusing on. We fall to 2-3 tonight. If you're Knightstown. Tough loss. You thought you had a good game plan when you start the game, but there's a lot to learn. I mean, it's not like you're playing just an average team. This is a good Eastern Hancock team.
Absolutely. You take away the positives of what you did to hang into a game, and against a team. I think if you're Knightstown, you just recognize what you have offensively. There are going to be some teams that match up well with you, and there's not a lot you can do. Knightstown right now, if they can't run an option, there's no second option.
Yeah.
Forgive the term, but what you're looking at is to try to get yourself stretch your offense out and find some different weapons that you can utilize on nights when a team is able to shut down your running game.
28-14, Eastern Hancock defeats Knightstown. Matt Organ and Mike Petrie, you see them on the field right now as they hold up the Plow Anvil Trophy.
Plowshare
and Anvil Trophy.
Right, there it is.
A big win for this Eastern Hancock team.
Yeah, and marching off the field, A.J. Maggie with it. Not quite like the Stanley Cup. Not everybody gets to touch it. A.J.'s got his hands on it. Nobody else is grabbing it, as they all take a knee to listen to the coach. And, I just think overall you just feel good from Eastern Hancock's point of view, just that, again, when it came down to, putting yourself in that position, you don't want to put yourself in the position of, hey, we have to start making plays. You want to be able to, again, leave yourself some margin for error. They had essentially worked through all of that margin for error with their offense in the first half, but they were able to when they were put against the wall, they were able to make it work.
Eastern Hancock wins 28-14 over Knightstown. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up here at Eastern Hancock High School. You're watching high school football on Ninestar.
In college football, you don't have the luxury of looking ahead. Every Saturday's a different way of destroying your season. They'll make the ground shake. They'll make your eyes burn. They'll show you hate and disrespect unlike anything you've ever seen. Don't think about January when there's a Wolverine coming for your face in September. The biggest game, the only game, is the one you're playing.
Welcome back to Eastern Hancock High School, where the Eastern Hancock Royals celebrating their win at the Plowshare and Anvil game. Coach O'Hara right there celebrating with his players. Coming back next week, Pendleton Heights and Mount Vernon be squaring off here on Ninestar TV. And, Mike, I think you have an update with that.
Yeah, well, Pendleton Heights looks like they're going to go ahead and fall to their first loss of the season. They are down 35-14 about midway through the fourth quarter, and New Pal just got the ball back after a fourth down stop. On the flip side, Mount Vernon going after their second win of the year. End of the third, they are still clinging to a 4-point lead. It's been back and forth all game long in that one. They were up 10-7, then went down 14-10, then up 17-14. So it is currently 24-20 at the end of the third for Mount Vernon. And, I think as much as anything, when I saw Pendleton Heights last week, again, that passing game, when they were able to start finding big plays on the offensive end. Again, not a team that really likes to throw the ball underneath a whole lot. You don't see a whole lot of 8 and 10-yard passes. You see a whole lot of 20 and 30-yard passes. Again, they like to bring everybody up, get the defense to work on stopping that running game, and then throw over top of that defense. And they are just able to take advantage. We're looking at some highlights here. And speaking of throwing over the defense, just a great pitch and catch there. Burton to Parker, really the one offensive highlight from Knightstown tonight, at least in the second half.
And that, you had that big start with Jose Olivo, and what a run that was. But they kind of squashed it out, and they went back to, like you said, just that play. They missed their assignment there. Yeah. They went back to assignment. Just kind of explain what the assignment football is.
Well, what you have is when you're playing an option, what you're generally trying to do is swarm to the ball. But you have to stop that, and you have to go against your inclinations when you're doing that. And you just have to, if you are assigned to the running back is the only person you are focusing on really until the ball is out of the backfield. And then you can maybe go chase after it. And because what the option does is they are trying to get misdirection. They are trying to get you to squeeze in, have three guys try to tackle the quarterback, and then the ball pitches out. Or you're trying, you get three guys keyed on the pitch man, and the quarterback will fake a pitch and can plant his leg, go upfield. So good disciplined defenses are able to get out, and a lot of times you kind of see where the quarterback and the running back, if the option's working well, they get to the end of the line, and there's one guy trying to defend two potential ball carriers. But what Eastern Hancock was able to do really well tonight and really just shut down Knightstown was, one, they were able to get the ball across the offensive line before forcing Burton to try to make a decision before he was ready, or they were able to have two guys out, and essentially then there's no options. You're trying to pitch or you're trying to carry, you're not going to have a lot of success. 5 straight Plowshare and Anvil game wins Eastern Hancock. And, that's a streak that, these guys haven't lost. You mentioned that earlier. That's something you can talk about for a while. Yeah, absolutely. You feel really good about that as we see some of the other highlights. And Jarrett Lewis, congratulations to him again. That was really what started to get things going for Jarrett Lewis tonight. That touchdown pass to Luke Splater, he gets Splater in the end zone, and really after that, he was able to really settle into a rhythm and get what he needed from the offense. And once he was able to start throwing the ball, and Knightstown had to respect that ability, they couldn't really send a safety crashing into the line of scrimmage. And once that happened, then Victor Olivo started getting some openings. As we see, this was the first play. That was Jose Olivo from Knightstown. And I'm still not sure that pitch was intentional. I'm sure Tyler Burton will now say it was. But that looked like he got hit and was able to withstand the tackler and instead pitched the ball to Olivo. Olivo did the rest.
Our sideline reporter Ryan Painter with winning quarterback Jarrett Lewis.
Hey guys, we're joined down here on the field with Eastern Hancock Royal Player of the Game, Jarrett Lewis. Jarrett, congratulations on the victory. 5 in a row for you guys, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All 4 years in high school, we've got the anvil, so pretty nice.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, it kind of started off with, Knightstown had a long run to start off their possession, and you guys answered back really quick. So looked like it might be high scoring, but then it slowed down a little bit. But your defense was able to help you guys out and hold them, and then you put a couple of quick scores on in the second quarter. What did you guys find opening up for you?
Well, I think we just stuck with our game plan, and we knew we had the weapons to, run whatever play our offensive coordinator Mike Gallion wanted, and so we just stuck with it. We didn't panic, and once they scored, we knew it was our turn to go out there and do what we do best, and we had a great offensive game going. So O-line did well, blocked well, receivers ran great routes, all around just good game offensively and defensively. Shot ourselves in the foot a little when we got in the red zone a couple times and couldn't score. So, other than that, it was a great team win. Yeah,
I think you were up 20-7 at the halftime, and then again, Knightstown came out on their first possession in the second half, scored, made it with one possession ball game. But we didn't see any panic out of you guys. You kind of held your composure and just answered right back. So, Jarrett, congratulations on 5 in a row, 4 in a row for you as a senior this year. Good luck the rest of the season, man.
Thank you.
Back up to you guys.
That was sideline reporter Ryan Painter with quarterback Jarrett Lewis of Eastern Hancock, and they pull out the win tonight, 28-14 over Knightstown. Again, we'll be back next week. Pendleton Heights and Mount Vernon will be here on Ninestar TV. That about wraps it up for us. Thanks to everyone back in the truck, to Ryan Painter on our sidelines. For Mike Petrie, I'm Matt Organ. Have a good night.